Welcome to Hardly Initiated. It is your host, Tyshawn Jackson, here with another episode with my co-host, Ryan Ketchens.
Listen, man, I'm excited for this one. We had a show. What was it? It was the Married Ladies Teach Single Women the Game.
Yes.
Yeah, and
So
that one went crazy.
it did, and this is like the spinoff.
Yeah.
Here, this is like the spinoff here, the sequel, y'all. If y'all actually tune in to watch that show, I want you to put in the chat, just put yes if you actually watched the show where we had our two wonderful ladies put y'all on game. Well, guess what? We got two more wonderful ladies put y'all here on game because, ladies, in this episode, y'all about to figure out how to be happily single. If y'all ain't already know how to do it before, we're going to talk about it here in this show here, and we're doing it with these two beauties here on the show. Welcome, 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 ladies.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing amazing. Let me introduce y'all real quick. Let me introduce y'all because the people need to know who's here.
Okay.
It's not no regular ladies here on the set.
Right.
Okay? Let's start with the beauty in the blue. Okay? Y'all see here in the blue, y'all probably already know these ladies, but if you don't, we are in here rocking with one of my favorite business coaches.
Yeah.
One of the most quiet, subtle, and sexy business moguls online. Actually, the co-host of the Social Proof podcast is in the building. We're in here rocking with Donnie Wiggins. Welcome to Hardly Initiated.
I'm happy to be here, but I'm also just a little bit nervous.
Nothing to be nervous about.
I don't get nervous, but we're talking dating stuff, and now I feel like y'all in my business. I don't know.
I'm happy to be here with you, though.
I'm happy to be here. First of all, you got to introduce. I don't want to say her name.
Yes.
Okay.
Because we are in here, with the Harvey royalty. Okay, it is here. But let me not go ahead and do that because you had to build that name up yourself. Okay, because we are in here rocking with a host, a speaker, an author, and somebody who is out here doing some amazing things in this space. I'm in here rocking here with Brandy Harvey. Welcome to Hardly Initiated.
It was a pleasure to be here.
Yes.
Now I'm excited to be here with you.
I am. I'm so excited to sit down with you. I really am.
We had to listen. So we had to work very hard to get these ladies. So first with Donnie, we had to completely grow as men and change our entire brand and everything about us had to change to get Donnie on the show.
Yes.
And then of course to get Brandy, we had to highly refer by her twin sister, Carly.
You all did.
Who had an amazing show. So we are
did.
very appreciative that y'all have joined us tonight for sure.
Which is ironically a friend of mine. So it's interesting that I'm sitting here with Brandy because I have a relationship with Carly.
Yeah.
Carly's dope.
And they were on a panel together.
Yes.
Y'all were on a panel last year together. I think Coriel's event.
Yes,
Yeah.
we were.
So
We've had lunch a couple of times.
6 degrees of separation.
6 degrees
That's
of separation.
what this is.
This is why you got to be really careful about the word that you put out in the streets about people.
Yes.
You never know.
You are going to meet them again. Absolutely.
And see, one thing we don't do on Hardly Initiated that you see a lot happens on these podcasts is they bring these women on that are pretty much meant to get beat up on, like these women who don't really have the discernment, the knowledge, the wisdom to communicate in a way that's going to represent the ladies right. But if y'all notice, we bring ladies on here to make sure that we represent the ladies right, and probably even some ladies that's gonna make the men in the chat choose a little bit, okay? So, matter of fact, the fellas in the chat right now, if you here, I want you to put I'm here. For the fellas that are in the chat right now, I want to know, but Ryan, let the people know what we got coming, because we got some amazing things coming right before we get into the actual
the
show.
chat is always going crazy. Honestly, if I was a single man, well, I am a single man, and I guess I kind of am in the chat, but I would be in the chat every Monday and Wednesday because, guys, that's when we're going live at 8 p.m. And this is the things. We got the Facebook family. Facebook family, welcome. We love you. We appreciate you, but we only giving you 30 minutes because our YouTube members and our YouTube audience, they like, look, y'all said it's exclusively for us, so y'all got to take care of us. So check this out. Go ahead and move over to YouTube now, and if by chance you really want to get into the conversation and you want to wait till we get to 8:30, that's fine, but please make sure to join us on the channel. And guys, we also got the super chats going. We got a goal of $2,100 this month. So remember, we started at $3,500. We've been working diligently to that goal. And of course, once we hit $3,500, we'll be able to sound treat the studio and also get a little bit more branding. So that way, you know, when we have our wonderful guests come on, like Brandy and Donnie, you'll be able to hear them. They'll be able to stretch, get animated without the sound actually going out, guys.
Right.
We need your money. We need your money.
We
all right?
need it.
Now, check this out. This is the last thing, guys. Go ahead and hit that like button, because the like button, as much as you hit the like button within that first 30 minutes, YouTube pushes this out more, and we want this to hit as many people as possible. And the last thing, I'm going to go ahead and drop this link in there. Listen, I'm going to let Tyshawn talk about this. We both put together the top 10 dating and connection questions.
Yes.
Tyshawn, they're effective, right?
This is very effective, y'all. Listen, we've been having coaches on here coach us up on how to ask the absolute best questions. Y'all know we guys who are, you know, single, you know, meeting wonderful people regularly, and also coaching up some other people who trying to navigate. So these phrases, these questions, they tried and true. So make sure y'all go ahead and get that ASAP.
And it's the last thing. I want to say this because we had some wonderful ladies. We had Nicole, Yali, Soirania, and I think it was Sabrina.
Sabrina Wade.
Yeah, Sabrina Wade. So we
Drama
had
on that one.
A bunch of women that took the risk. They dropped their IG handles in the chat and allowed us to humbly critique the IG profiles, to give them some advice about how to find some,
and we actually
some
did Donnie Wiggins before the show as well. She wanted us to critique her IG. Was
Nobody's safe.
Donnie got a solid IG for those who don't know. We're going to be dropping Donnie as well as Brandy's IG throughout the show too, so y'all can go ahead and follow them as well, because y'all about to fall in love with these ladies as the show goes on. And as a matter of fact, let's get right into it, y'all.
Let's get
into this.
Because let's start here, because we're going to talk about a lot of different things tonight, but we didn't want to say, you know, this all kind of goes into being the concept of being happily single. Because I think it's a lot of misconceptions around that. I've met a lot of single ladies, and I can't say all the single ladies I run into are happily single. It's a lot of miserable. It's a lot of miserable single ladies out here. And misery while you single is not going to bring the right person into your life.
Right. Yeah.
And is not going to really bring anything you want in any area of your life, I would say, to go as far to say that. So let me ask you this. What do you think it means, even when I say the words happily single? What do you think that even means to you when you hear me say that?
I almost feel like it's a thing you kind of don't want to hear sometimes. Even as you get to, you know, you're a woman of a certain age, you're like, I don't want to hear, oh, hell, she's happily single. It kind of feels like, good for her, like pat her, rub her, like soothe her a little bit, like it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
God's got something waiting for you, you know? But I think honestly, you know, as a person who did not think, I promise you, in my 20s, I would not have thought that I would be single and dating at 41.
Yeah.
Would not have thought it. You have all these ideas of what it's going to be. You didn't planned out the fairy tale wedding. You didn't got your kids' names, all the things, and you don't see it that I'm gonna be single at 41. But when I think back, I did not do any of the things if I was preparing for marriage. I was not doing the things that were preparing me for marriage in my 20s. I wasn't doing the things that were preparing me for marriage in my early 30s. And so, am I happily single? Absolutely yes, because I make the most amazing life for myself. But is there a desire for partnership and togetherness? And baby, I know I'm coming home to you every single night. Yes. Like, yeah, very much so.
First of all, we start the show with woman's accountability.
Right.
At the top of the show, y'all.
Oh, yes.
It's going to be a good show.
Yes.
I'm going to tell y'all that right now.
I was not expecting that.
Really?
That is incredible.
Oh, no. I was not doing the things that would have prepared me to be married at this age. I wasn't. I could say that that's what I wanted, but my actions and the way I was showing up was not that.
Yeah.
It was not that. And that did not come until I was 35 years old.
35.
35 years old. It
35.
It didn't come.
What happened at 35?
You know, one, I got very clear on therapy. So what I didn't think I needed to heal about myself was the very thing I needed to do. I need to go unroot, you know, and uproot some stuff and unlearn some stuff. And so when I started to unlearn some stuff and some behaviors, that is when life started to open up in a different way. And I had a different vantage point of what I wanted and what I needed in my life. So yeah, that I wasn't doing anything. I could have said it, but really I wasn't doing the things in my 20s.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that said you want to be married. Girl, stop. You playing.
So interesting. So let me come to you, Donnie, too, because I think at this point too, and thank you for being open, because you said you were you're 41 years old.
Yeah.
A lot of ladies don't like to drop their age. Is that situation with you too, Donnie? You want to keep it?
The world knows.
The world knows.
I mean, you can Google me and my age and birthday is going to come up along with my siblings. And
Okay.
Yeah.
my
I
spouse.
just learned Donnie's age today, by the way. Donnie
Okay.
is Donnie gonna throw y'all all off. Donnie, tell them how old you are, by the way.
I am 44.
Donnie, yeah. Y'all
Right.
okay?
But let me say this. So the comments is already black don't crack. A bunch of black don't crack. Yeah,
There's a bunch of black don't cracks up
right.
there. So y'all see what's going down over here.
Y'all got some seasoned ladies on the show
It's
today.
season.
That's- we need that. We need that.
But y'all looking good.
Thank
I'm gonna tell you
you.
that. But I'll tell you this. Let me ask you this. Like, how do you feel? Do you feel any of like the how do you feel about women who embrace like singleness as a lifestyle versus like as a phase? Do you feel like we should embrace singleness as a lifestyle, or should it be a phase? How should we approach our singleness?
I think it's both. I think that what I know is that not everybody wants the same thing. So every woman doesn't desire to be married.
Yeah.
And for that woman, yes, embrace singleness and whatever that means as your lifestyle. But for women who desire to be married, I honestly, I think you have to embrace whatever part of your journey you're in at that time. So for me, yes, I embrace being single because there is no other option. I am single, right?
Yeah.
Me embracing being who I am and what I am at this time doesn't mean that I don't desire to be in a relationship.
Yeah.
But I am not going to not embrace who I am today.
Yeah.
And who I am today is a single woman who desires a relationship. And just like Brandy said, I wasn't necessarily doing in my 20s the things that I should have been doing to be a marriage-minded individual. I had an engagement in my 20s. And I say it all the time. If I had married at that time, I probably would have been experienced marriage and divorce by now. I'm a very, very different person. Yeah. And it's not that I was necessarily doing the wrong things. I was doing the best that I could do with the information that I had.
Yes.
And as I've gotten older and I've gone into different crowds and I had better examples of what marriage should be, I have become a different woman. As I've gone on my own journey, just in a true pursuit of happiness, like you mentioned, we are happily single. I wouldn't say that I'm happily single. I would say that I'm happy and single, if that makes sense, right?
Okay.
Like, I desire to be in a relationship. I can thrive as a single woman, but I'm not happy by the fact that I'm single. I am a happy person who's also single. Right?
Yeah.
And for me, there was a long journey of really identifying what happiness looked like for me. And along that journey, I became a better person. And now I feel more equipped for marriage. And we talked a little bit about offline. I just didn't have, as a single mom, and at that time that I became a single mom, like, I went through traumatic financial loss. Dating for me with a little girl just could not be a priority. So for years, I tried to shield my daughter from, seeing her mom out there in those streets because I wanted to be my daughter's first example of what a woman was supposed to be. So I just couldn't have her. And dating requires that you date a few people until you find what you want, maybe even a lot. And I couldn't have my daughter seeing her mom in that light. And my focus became like, be a woman. If you really mean that you want to be your daughter's example of what a woman is supposed to be right now, you are literally taking gallons of water to pour into the back of a toilet just to flush it. This was during the recession of 2008 to 2010. That's not an example of who your daughter wants to be or should be. Get your stuff together and become that woman. And around your time, around the same age as you, 35-ish, is when I started to say, okay, we can start now, like really taking dating seriously.
So I want to notice, because I think both of you said something interesting, that in your 20s, you didn't do what you probably should have done, right? Especially knowing what you know now.
Yeah.
What does that look like, by the way? Because I want to see if other ladies can see themselves in that. Because what does it look like not doing what you're supposed to be doing in your 20s? Like, what did that look like for you now?
Well, I think everybody's journey is so different, but in my 20s, I was dating people because he looked good, he was fine, he was the fine one at the gym.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, like, he was just fine. He had no real ambitions, you know. He was not on the same path as me, but we had good chemistry, you know. It was a vibe, you know. And I think that I put so much onus on that, you know, in my 20s, or, you know, even what a person has, or you're dating because they have a certain status.
Yeah.
You know, you're dating for the things and not how the person treats you, or you're not dating for the character of the individual, their level of integrity, you know, how well they're respected, how they respect themselves. You have a different set of values. And I think that was, when I look back at my 20s, my value system was just different. So of course, as you age and you start to mature and you become more seasoned, as we're saying, you know, as you're more seasoned, you start to understand, wait a minute, these are the things that are really important to me.
Yeah.
These are the type of people I want to be. This is the type of person I want to make a human with. Like, those are the things that you're looking at, and you're not, you know, like, oh girl, look at that Bentley truck. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not like, you're not.
You know, he played for the Falcons.
Your mindset changes, but that comes with maturity. I think it comes with life, getting a life on your behind.
Yeah.
You know, I think it really comes when you start to understand that time is really fleeting.
Yeah.
And we kind of think that we have more time than we really do. And so if I look back at my 20s, I really thought I had way more time. 40 seemed very far off.
Very far.
It was like, oh my God.
It does seem far.
I remember sitting in the office. I used to run the Stephen Marjorie Harvey Foundation. I would sit in the office, and we had like the Steve Harvey Radio Network, and we got all these other entities that are run out of here. And I'm looking at women. I'm 26, 27 years old, 28, and I'm looking at women who are 38 and 40 and single and no kids. I'm like, oh man, she is really having a go at it. You know, I was really thinking like, oh my God, like she is old and she ain't got it. And now I'm looking and I'm like, ooh, I'm that lady that I was thinking about.
But you know what?
But totally different vibe now.
I don't even think I really wanted to be married in my 20s.
I heard you say that in one of your interviews. I heard you say that.
I didn't have a desire to be married for real. In my 20s, I was learning myself. I was trying to gain some independence outside of my parents. I wanted my own place and, you know, my own money. So that was the focus. And I was at the club, like I was partying and I was hanging out with my friends. And I think it's important for women to experience that phase. I feel like it's important for men and women to experience the phase of self-discovery. Yeah. And I spent my 20s doing that. It just so happened that I discovered my daughter's father. In the process.
It happens.
Let your kids get their own crib too soon and it's a wrap, right?
Yeah.
I discovered my daughter's father in the process. Amazing guy. We got engaged to be married, but I believe that. So when you say you weren't doing the right things, and you named all these things, the other thing that we were really committing to in our 20s was love. The end. If I love you, we can spend the rest of our lives together, right? And that's kind of what that situation was when I was engaged to be married. Like, I love you so much. Yes, I'll marry you. But did our goals for how we, you know, did the picture of how we saw our future 20 years from that moment align? They didn't, you know, at all. Yeah. Did our core values at that time align? No, we loved each other very much. We got along very much, but I didn't do my proper due diligence. And as you know it now, or as I know it now, love is just not enough to say, I'm going to marry you, which is why, or we'll have a successful marriage, which is why you can have had many relationships that resulted in love that did not result in marriage.
So what do you think is the foundation for a healthy long-term relationship?
Yeah, so love is obviously one of those things, but I believe that you should be aligned in your core values. Like we should want something very similar out of life. And I believe that the two people who are best suited for each other are two people who easily serve each other, right? Like, you don't mind loving me in my love language, or you're eager, not even that you don't mind, but you're eager to love me in my love language, and I'm eager to love you in your love language. Obviously I believe that God needs to be the center of everything, and I think that that's a huge missing element. But even outside of that, like, how do we wish to raise our children? What do we want to do for a living? If I start a business, is that going to be a problem for you? If my business requires me to travel, is that a problem? Do you want a housewife? Do you want to be a house husband? Like, we need to have these conversations. there are those, right?
Bless their heart.
We need to have
R.I.P. to those guys.
we need to have these questions mapped out, because if you marry someone and let's say you are, let's just say right now you're marrying someone and you love each other very much and everything seems perfect, and then 5 years into the marriage, suddenly you want to scratch that entrepreneurial itch that you never confessed to anybody, and then you bring it to your spouse and they're like, oh no, that's not our lifestyle. Our lifestyle, we agreed that you would be right here by my side the whole time.
Yeah.
Well, now we're out of alignment. And I think that we don't have enough conversations early on. While I don't think that I was marriage minded and doing the things that I should have been doing in my 20s, I think that I'm right where I'm supposed to be in my journey.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let me actually,
absolutely.
it's so funny you say that, because it was matter of fact, it was actually a famous Drake line. He even said that. He said, like, married in our 20s, nah, what's the fun in that, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's like our whole culture has kind of embodied that mindset. I remember we just interviewed Dr. Jamal Bryant. It's a funny moment where he checked us live on the show.
Oh, I watched it.
Because
He's like, how old are you?
Yeah.
How old are you?
Oh, for real.
I watched it.
And y'all just look at y'all. Y'all talking about y'all want to do all these things. Y'all just over here kicking it, huh?
Right.
He said, and he put it on us. He said a few generations ago, it would be expected that right now y'all boys
Already
3
be doing
kids,
it.
4 kids in,
Right.
heading a family, doing this, but y'all want to do X, Y, Z, all these contingencies prior to marriage. I think men and women have taken on that mindset that right now that's not important. Let's find ourselves. Let's get this money. Let's do these other things. What do y'all think about that? Do you think that that's something that we need to change as a culture, where how we prioritize or think of ourselves as being marriage ready? Or do you think that that's something that we should have? We should have that period or age of getting ourselves ready, if you will, for it. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, the first thing you say when you say ready, it takes me back to the interview that y'all did with Jamal Bryant, talking about, his first attempt at monogamy was when he got married.
Right.
So we got to begin to practice how we want to play. And so when you think about, do we need all this time apart? And I feel like we really are in this connection, like this connection crisis, because we have like made these little silos for ourselves. We're so good at being alone. COVID told us that it was okay to isolate yourself and be at home. So it becomes harder and harder as the generation goes on for people to really find deep connections with each other. And that's the basis of a relationship. You got to really like a person.
Yeah.
And I think that, we get with people and we say, oh, she cool. But do you like her? Like, I've been in partnership with somebody my entire life. My sister, I came into the world with someone, right? And it's been the biggest lessons of partnership, okay?
Yeah.
And we used to have so many fights, right? By the time we were 30, we stopped fighting with each other. It took us 30 years of being sisters, living together, being roommates, all the things. But the thing that always kept us together is that we genuinely liked each other. And people tell us that all the time, like, man, I wish I had a sister like you. Man, I wish I had a best friend bond like you. But it's really more than that. It's we really like each other. So when we think about relationships, I got to really like you. Even when you look real ugly to me, even when your breath stank, you done got on my nerves. I don't even like the way you chewing. I don't like the way you looking at me right now, all the things. But in 5 minutes, you might come back, I might laugh a little bit, and we back at it. You know what I'm saying? Because I really like you. And I think that, when we talk about having all this time apart, well, when are we going to learn how to be together with one another?
Yes.
When are we going to learn how to create bonds? When are we going to learn? Because if we spend so much time, and now for 30 years and 40 years, we're just by ourselves, it becomes more and more difficult for us to then say, let me join my life with somebody. Because I've gotten accustomed to being over here and doing things by ourselves. Now, not to say that that didn't come with some teachings along the way, right? Because
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I grew up with, my father was not in the home. And so you learn through abandonment, right?
Yes.
That I have to be prepared to do things on my own.
Yes.
I've got to be prepared because somebody might not show up for me. I got to be prepared because no one's coming to save me. And so when you have that in your mind sight all the time, it becomes more and more difficult for you to say, you know what? I want to build with somebody. I want to reach out. I want to help somebody. I want to nurture somebody. I want to incubate a dream. I want to expand a vision. What you trying to do? Like that becomes more and more difficult if we don't have that and take the time to create that.
So once you get to that situation or that place where you are recognizing that you might have some issues that you need to deal with, to be able to facilitate or be open to that kind of relationship, what are some practical things that you should be doing to make improvement?
You want to do this?
So
Some of y'all know y'all need to go to therapy.
you need to go to therapy.
Some
Okay.
of y'all know, it's been gnawing, nagging. It's been that little whisper in the back of your mind. Some of y'all have got to go handle the thing that needs to be handled.
Yeah.
You got to go address the things that need to be addressed because you're not going to be good for yourself and you are not in 1 iota of a % going to be good for somebody else.
And sometimes that requires that you withdraw from some people in some circles, right? Sometimes your associations and the circles that you're in will keep you behaving a certain way.
Yeah.
They will champion bad behavior.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to I don't believe in cutting off people who don't think like me. Like people will say, if everybody's not on the same track, then cut them off. I don't buy into that philosophy because I do have some day ones that are very significant to my life. But like my homeboy, Dewan always says, I also believe heavily in day twos. And my day twos came around and really helped me grow. Right?
I like that.
My day twos came around day ones, they're home, they're history, they're forever, they're inked in, they're grandfathered in.
Yeah.
But those day twos really challenged me and pushed me. And so to answer your question, outside of therapy, being brave enough to seek people and have conversations with people that say, hey, how do you navigate that issue? We're so scared to ask questions because the question doesn't make us look perfect that we'd rather stay stuck in these less than stellar, behavior patterns than to ask questions and outgrow these behavior patterns. For me, I started to look at the people that I was taking advice from in careers and in relationship and saying, why? I wouldn't trade places with you. Why would I take advice from you in this way? And so I started to think differently very, very early. And then I started to identify people that I would trade places with, and I began to ask them questions. What I do know is that everybody still has some stuff with them, no matter how perfect their situation looks. And I want to know, what did you do that's helpful and what did you do that's hurtful? I want to be prepared for both. Like you, Brandy, I did not grow up with my biological father in the home, so I also dealt with some abandonment issues. Yeah. So for me, it's you have these ideas in your head of building with someone, but there's always those what ifs. My parents were married and then they ultimately got divorced. And when they got divorced, my father not only wasn't in the home, I didn't know him until I, was 20 something years old, until I had my first child. So to outgrow these patterns, it's a culmination of therapy, you identifying, you being open to critique. Somebody really, I remember the person who told me, you really got to grow up. You really have to grow up. What that behavior is damaging, right? And I was open to receive that information, and I asked them, can you explain? And when they explained to me, and I was listening to somebody whose advice I actually respected, that's important, then I was willing to now go and read the books and watch the videos and study the behavior patterns of women that I actually would trade places with in that way, and study the behavior patterns of the men who was attracted to them or who they attracted, and studying the behavior patterns of men that I was attracted to. And honestly, therapy, conversations, everything. Like at some point, you just have to decide to become the best version of yourself.
That's it.
That's it. You just have to decide that, you know what, I'm tired of being this way in a relationship or out of a relationship, with money or without money. You just have to decide, like, I deserve to be a better person. And when you start being really intentional about being a better person, then the world of opportunities just open up for you, and you begin to attract the type of partner that you would want to have. Now, being ready for that partner is a whole other question.
Right. I want to.
Wait. Before you go into it, y'all, it's already close to 500 people in this room right now.
30 minutes in.
Which is like insane right now. So I want everybody that's joining in, please go ahead and do us a favor and just like it, because what you about to see is going to be powerful. It's going to be straight therapy in here tonight.
Facts.
For y'all, they saying y'all need to be up in therapy. Well, if y'all join this joint, you're in therapy right here tonight. So all we asking for is a quick like. And if for some crazy reason you have not subscribed to this platform, with some crazy reason, just go ahead and do that. It's just so hard for some strange reason to get people to subscribe, to your channel. But please just do us that favor really quickly and like it before we go into it. But Ryan, I want you to actually go into
let the Facebook audience go real quick.
Oh, the Facebook audience. Yes, it is time to part ways.
Bye, y'all.
Come on over to YouTube and join us for the rest of this conversation, because it is about to get really fun. And this is not anywhere near done yet. We're actually going to take some call-ins a little bit later.
Facts.
So it's going to get very fun here. We got the headphones just to hear your voices.
And we got those headphones. So they send us, we was missing a pair of headphones. They sent the super chats in. We got the headphones. It's official. We got enough headphones for everybody on the set. Real quick, I want to give a shout out to another Donnie who sent over a super chat. Hey. So you got somebody representing the first name, Donnie. Shout out to VJ. She says, "Hello, family. I can hang you all. Family member for 2 months as of yesterday. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Join the family, please and thanks." Shout out to VJ.
Shout out to VJ.
Shout out to Leah Owens and Janeth Macias for joining as members as well. So that's dope. But then another special shout out for Donnie. Shout out to KN. She says, "Hey Donnie, looking like a snack." 4 exclamation points. So happy to see you on here. Shout out to K-Han with the compliments.
Shout out. That's our moderator right there.
Before y'all move to that next question real quick, I think I have to close that last point with, once you as a woman or a man start your journey of therapy and discovery, like, you'll know you're in your journey of discovery when you have questions. Why am I this way? How did I get this way? Is this way really acceptable? Am I demonstrating some unacceptable behaviors? Once you start going on that self-discovery journey, you will learn very quickly that your tolerance level for accepting that old behavior in other people goes away. It diminishes down to 0. So then what happens when you allow women to get to their 40s who are very intentional about growing and self-discovery, now you're dealing with women who can quickly identify, like, you are a reflection of who I used to be, and I'm not going to tolerate that behavior. The pool gets a little smaller.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
First of all, that's that's really good game. I love when people give people signs and ways to understand what they're communicating, especially what phase you're in, because we hear a lot of times, like, you need to be in self-discovery, you need to go within, you need to do all those, and a lot of times that can become metaphysical and not become something practical. So I like that you actually gave tips to understand and even know to evaluate that. When you start asking yourself questions, when you start to really evaluate yourself, to critique yourself seriously and deeply in an honest way, when you move from becoming that victim, because we can do that as well, even as guys. Like, you can find every other reason something is happening besides it being you, and you being honest with yourself. And it could be everybody else's fault. It could be the economy's fault. It could be the government's fault. It could be your daddy's fault. It could be your ex's fault. It could be your mama's fault, your teacher's fault, except yours. And I think when you do go into that place, that's very important. When you really start to go within, you are able to then find those answers. And really, that's where the work truly begins, which I think that's why I also tell them to go to therapy, because that thought process, they kind of help that train of thought.
Absolutely.
Of that self-discovery, jelly beaning your mind to really go backwards
Yeah.
in that way.
Well, and therapy is so important because most of us only have our friends and immediate family to rely on.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I want you, like those of you who are watching this, ask yourself right now. Some of you guys are extremely, incredibly lucky if you have people who are qualified to give you advice in many areas of your lives.
That is a blessing.
That's really a blessing. But for the majority of us, or for many of us, I don't like to speak in absolutes, but for many of us, we didn't necessarily grow up with the pleasure of having solid advice. I know that because I used to be the girl giving terrible advice. I gave all the wrong advice. Girl, we pulling up. Leave him. He this, that. Like I
was
used
her?
To, I was.
Wow,
I was.
yeah.
Yes.
Not Donnie.
Absolutely. I was no benefit of the doubt. Yes, he did it. And what are we going to do, about it? And you didn't want advice from 20-something-year-old Donnie, right?
Wow.
And one of the benefits of this journey is the time that we got to get to spend with ourselves and being able to. I think that there's great benefit in being in this journey alone for a little bit so that you can discover yourself and hopefully you attract someone who's also been on that journey, right? Instead of getting in a situation and then discovering so much turmoil that you kind of have to go on this journey together, but now you're battling individual issues plus together issues. I don't know that one is any better than the other, but I'm grateful for my relationship as a result of that. But therapy really is important because you're talking to somebody who's been trained to give you feedback about a very particular situation rather than all the people in your lives who will tell you what to do in your relationship when their relationship on the back end is suffering, right? And I want to go off, I love the advice and the feedback of people who have been trained. They've spent years, they have talked to so many, a whole bunch of people who have experienced what I've experienced. But what I also know, because I was in a significant relationship, what I also know is very healthy, even as a single person, is to start surrounding yourself with couples. Start getting in the environment of couples who appear to be healthy couples, people who are interested in double dating and spending time and building community. Community is important and has been important since the beginning of time, and it's no different than in your relationship too. And these are just things that I've learned along my journey. So, Bae, if you are watching, girl, we done the inner work, all right? Listen.
But I think it speaks to when Dr. Stacey Johnson was on you guys' show. I interviewed her as well, right?
Nice.
And she talks about become the love you want, right? Becoming the love you want. And so I think so many women have this list of things that they want and desire from men. But are you that woman? You have to be. I want them fit. I want them tall, but you don't go to the gym. I want them kind. I want them pleasant. You have a nasty attitude. No one likes you. You're very rude to people. Like all the things. And so we talk about all the things that we want in our lives, but we have to become that because you are not going to even attract. I am not even attracting in my singleness men who are liars and cheaters and don't have good integrity and who are broke and who are all these different things. Oh, he can't keep a job. How am I even attracting that? Right. Because it's almost like I have a repellent on me anyway.
Yes.
So you know that is not even the direction I am going in. And I think so when people are met with all these challenges and obstacles along the way, they really, when you're asking the questions, after you ask the questions, you've got to do the work.
Yes.
You can ask all the questions. You can have all the faith that he is going to come. But are you ready? Have you done the work? Are you even in a position to receive that?
Man, that's such a good point.
Yeah.
Man, me and Ryan was talking about this too because I think a common thing we hear, because a lot of our listeners, they have a spiritual undertone and backing.
Absolutely.
Like they have that at their core,
yeah.
which I think is really important.
At minimum, strong interest in being
Exactly.
At minimum, strong interest.
And they all want this man of God. Matter of fact, ladies,
Oh,
if you want a
Lord.
man of God, put man of God in the chat.
Goodness.
If I'm describing you, put the man of God in a chat right now.
Go ahead and
I want
drop
you to
that
hurry
man
up-
of God.
I want you to hurry up and put it in before I get to this next statement because you're probably not going to want to put it in after I say this next statement. Then when you think about it, me and Ryan was talking about, our experiences meeting young ladies. A lot of women that we hear say this and that even want that, I don't know the last time they've read a verse watched a sermon,
Went to
been to a
church.
church.
Yeah.
I mean, know somebody that go to church.
Right.
Like, you know, like,
I discovered real early that I was not fit to be a preacher's wife.
oh,
I dated a pastor and had to bow out gracefully. I thought this was what I wanted, sir, but
like, really? Is that
I
really
would
what
mess
you
up
want?
the whole church.
I mean, I definitely have dated a pastor before, and you do have to have a certain mindset to go into that type of dating.
Yeah.
But I think with whoever you are choosing, you know, you are really just holding up a mirror. You're really just
Yes.
holding up a mirror to another person and saying, this is me and this is you. And we have to be willing to accept that we are not showing up as perfect packages, and neither is he. And I think we have gotten this fairy tale romanticized idea of what love is. And we have no accountability. We cannot be corrected. And love requires correction. God loves us so much that even if you don't want to go there, God loves us and he loves us and corrects us. And we expect someone to love us and not give us any correction.
Yes.
So there is a huge pressure on women to, you know, get into these long-term situations or long-term relationships. And I think the pressure manifests itself in so many different ways, right? And what I have identified just through speaking to our audience, and I give myself a license for relationships, so I just go around asking women all kind of
we,
questions.
You gave
we
yourself a
always
license?
podcasting.
You
Yeah.
gave
we
yourself a
always
license?
A license to
A
ask
license.
women whatever I want to ask them, whatever I want to ask them.
Amen.
You're right.
Yes.
Because I'm doing research, right?
Facts.
And I found that loneliness, anxiety, and rejection seem to be three of the top things that manifest when women are getting this pressure, they're feeling this pressure. And I'll give you an example, okay? So I was dealing with a young lady, and we have a conversation. I've only known her for a week. We having a conversation. And, you know, I had my Quran. I pulled it out because I, you know, was at a shop, and I pulled it out. I was getting stuff out of my bag. And she was like, you know, what are you doing with this? And I'm explaining to her, you know, I'm doing a spiritual journey. I'm reading the Bible. I'm reading the Quran. I'm trying to figure this out. You know, I might actually, you know, end up converting if I dig in it, you know, even deeper. And, you know, the date went well. Everything went smooth.
Okay.
We were having a great time. We had a couple days, right? So the next day she texted me. She's like, we need to talk. And I'm like, okay, cool. So we're having a conversation, and she's like, Ryan, I can't do this no more. And I'm like, do what? She's like, well, this is good, but I can't see myself dating a Muslim man. And I'm like, what? I'm like, and she started to give me all of these things that would happen in the future if she was to be with him. I'm like, I only known you for a week. Right?
A week?
Like, it's like a week or two.
Oh, wow.
Right? And I'm like, where is this coming from? Right? And it was anxiety. It was it's like self-sabotaging behavior. Even though this guy has these great things going on, I'm going to find something far distant problem in the future that does not even exist as a reason that I should communicate this not working anymore. Now, of course, I could talk her off the ledge and be like, hey, look, you tripping. We going to go on another date. We're going to have a good time. But in my mind, I'm like, this is going to come up consistently. It's going to be one of those situations where every week, every time something new comes up, every time I share something that's intimate, right? It could be this evaluation process for something that's all the way down in the future. So as a single woman with this societal pressure, how do you battle anxiety? And is there things that you could make note of where you know this is manifesting in a potential relationship?
Can I just speak to that point of the religion piece?
Yeah.
You know, one, I want to say one of my best friends, we've been best friends my entire life. She is married, Christian girl, we grew up in the same church. Her husband is Muslim. And they have been married for over 10 years, have beautiful family. So let me say that, right? The second part is I have a mentor, and she's a pastor. She's a pastor, and she pastors up in New Jersey. And we had a conversation recently when I was up in Philadelphia. I was like, you know, I met somebody, but we kind of started talking about spiritual beliefs and this and that. And he said that wouldn't work for him, and, you know, my belief. And one of the things she said, she was a court reporter. And she said, I done sat in a mini courtroom, and I done read a mini document of people who believe the same, had the same religion, and guess what? They didn't like each other.
Right.
She said they ultimately were in the divorce court because they didn't like each other. It was not that was going to keep them together. And so we make all these assumptions of who a person is. And just like how you said, you changed. You've changed so much. And I think when we talk about love and relationships, do you have the capacity to grow with someone?
Yeah.
For them to evolve, for their evolution? Because that's what it is when you talk about love and building a partnership. That means I have enough capacity in my life for the growth and expansion of my love. But because I love you, I have enough for yours to grow and expand as well.
Yes.
And I got to be willing to communicate that, hear your needs, address them, but also you do the same for me. But that requires you to have a strong foundation of who you are, so that anxiety doesn't even play into the fold, because you know exactly the type of woman that you are, you know exactly the type of work that you've done, but the type of foundation that you stand on. And when you understand that, you're not that anxiety. I'm not anxious for what? What I'm telling you, 2 weeks. I don't even know your middle name good.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, and you ask
Exactly.
me, I might not know it 2 years. Good.
Right.
Middle name, remind me again. Like, you know, we have all these expectations and all these demands and all these rules and regulations, and we cut love out of our lives in so many ways. Because even when it's not just a relationship with another partner, a man or a woman, you cut love out of your life in all the other ways too. And people have to be mindful of that.
That is so true. That is so true. And I think that's one of the ways, I think what Ryan was describing is like different ways that you can potentially just kind of sabotage.
Self-sabotage,
you know,
yeah.
a relationship that you're in for a few different reasons. And we've had a lot of therapists on. Shout out to the therapists, man. They be making me learn different aspects. I didn't even realize the mind was as scientific
y'all
as
have
it
grown.
was. We have.
Y'all have grown. I was running from this show.
Yes. So Donnie saw, you know, she saw the inception of Hardly Initiated, you know, when it was kind of barbershoppy as a platform, and it truly has transformed as we have transformed.
Yeah.
And big shout out to the guests that we've brought on, has had a lot to do with it. And a lot of the therapists that we've brought on haven't went as deep as we could have in self-sabotage. But now I have a better understanding of what that is, because it's so interesting how our minds work. We can't have more than we think of ourselves. It's so interesting.
That is true.
So like if our temperature is set to 68 degrees and if somebody come in on fire at 80, we not gonna know. We gonna try to bring everything right, but that's too much for us. We gonna try to bring everything right back down to our temperature that we believe that we're at in our minds. And it's so interesting because it's different things it's different versions of what that looks like. And one version, because I was actually like looking at this here, and I think a lot of women do struggle with this too. And I think this is really something good that you guys can speak on. Because one thing I don't think any of you ladies struggle with at all at this point of your lives is confidence. I think y'all kind of exude this energy of radiance, of confidence. Y'all walk in rooms, y'all own it. And that's sexy as well to men. Men can look at a damsel in distress, and not the, you know, seductress damsel in distress, but the damsel in distress that's just been beat down so bad. It's just like, you just know that you might get a very quick trauma dump in a conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Where she gonna just kind of hit. And these are things that ladies might be really like, especially telling us that they dealing with. How would you say a woman that's probably dealing with issues with her confidence, right? And really even having that confidence to potentially date with confidence. Where does she start to get that back? Like to get that old thing back, to get that radiance back as a woman? How does she do that?
I think you go, again, it's all about the journey of self-discovery. Like, I think the first thing that you have to do is identify what makes you feel unconfident. And when you understand what makes you feel unconfident, you can start to remove some of those things from your immediate space. So you may have friends around you who tell you, oh, you got to get this together. You got to get your weight together. You got to clear your skin. You got to do this. You got to do all these things. When you're feeling unconfident, it's number one, important to identify specifically what makes you feel that way. Two, if there is a person attached to it or a group of people attached to it, you have to put some distance between those individuals and yourself. And then 3, you have to really be intentional. Like I'm a journal. I write in my journal all the time. And so for someone like that, if I were actually coaching you, I would ask you to actually write down what's happening in your life or around you when you feel your best self, right? And when you're feeling your best self, being clear on those things, be intentional about putting yourself in the environment of when you feel your best self. And the more and more you do that, the more and more you're in the practice of happiness, the more and more you're in the practice of confidence, you will actually start to attract the men that you want, and it'll make it easier for you to date in that space. That's just the surface level starting point.
Yeah. No, but I think that's good though.
Yeah.
I think that's a good starting point.
I think the affirmations help. I'm one of those like post it on the mirror girls.
Me too, in my bathroom.
I'm a post it on the mirror girl. Like,
So you got affirmations all over your mirror in the bathroom?
I do.
they're not in my bathroom. They're actually in my bedroom. I have a huge mirror in my bedroom, and I line them across the top because I know I'm going to stand in that mirror at some point in the morning. But I believe in that. I mean, because I have to repeat them even when I'm on the way to things. I have to repeat them on the way over here, just so I have an open heart and an open mind and a clear, able to receive, but also in a space to give. And I think the affirmations like really help me, because in some words I have to say, I live in the overflow of love and abundance. I live in the overflow of love and abundance. Because you know what I'm going to say? That all day long. I live in the flow of overflow, live in the overflow of love and abundance. I'm a captivating woman. I'm a captivating woman who deserves love.
Yeah.
I am a protected and adored wife. These are things that I'm saying to myself every day.
Wow.
So the energy that I'm giving out is that I'm in a space to receive that same love because I'm already in the overflow. And so when you understand how much you speaking over your own life is so important.
So important.
You will then go out into the world and get everything you desire, because you know what? I've been speaking over this all day.
Are we the same person?
We are.
Are we the same person? Listen, the affirmations, mine are in my bathroom.
Yeah.
On a wall in my bathroom and in between my mirrors, because as I am brushing my teeth, I am looking at these affirmations.
Yes.
When I'm washing my face, I'm saying them out loud. When I'm putting on my fragrance, I'm saying them out loud. But I also go a step further. I say my affirmations 4 times a day, every single day.
Oh, yes.
And it's because the more and more you say it, like affirmations feel like a silly thing to do. Like simple as, I am confident, I am happy, I am strong, I am ready for my husband, and my husband is ready for me. Like little things like that. I've been saying for years, since my daughter was 13 years old, I am creating income and career opportunities for my daughter, and I did it, right? I will be able to pay for my daughter to go to college cash. I did it. You can't tell me affirmations don't work.
Yeah.
But as you are going through your affirmations, when you're just waking up, sometimes you don't have the energy. That's why I'm also very intentional about owning the first 2 hours of my day. Every single day. You cannot penetrate the first 2 hours of my day, period. I say my affirmations at least 4 times, because the first time just feels like the obligation.
Yeah.
The second time I get a little bit more energy. The third time I'm looking at myself like, you are that girl.
You the Issa Rae, you rapping?
You are what? I'm doing all of this. And by the 4th time, I got it down to a science. We dancing with it. We leaning with it and rocking with it. Like I'm looking in my mirror, putting on, girl, ain't nobody going to be able to tell you nothing. You are that chick. And everybody knows it. Like I'm telling myself exactly what I need. But I also record myself regularly speaking my affirmations. So when I get in the car, I'm not listening to music. I'm either listening to some personal development audio, or I am listening to my affirmations play back to me, because we absorb through frequency, through third-party frequency, just like you absorb music. You listening to music on the radio, you pick up that energy, you pick up that frequency. If you're listening to some chill jazz, you're going to be in you can't do all of this, to jazz. If you're listening to hip hop, it's really difficult to be mellow. So I speak to myself the way that I deserve to be spoken to.
Yeah.
Because if nobody else speaks to me that way today, I started my day speaking to myself. And on my voice recorder, simply on my phone, I literally record myself, and then I get in the car and I say it over and over and over again 4 times. So as I'm in the car, I'm driving, and I'm like, yep, I believe in my ability to figure it out, which, by the way, is my favorite affirmation. And I'm speaking everything. And by the time I reach my destination, these are on repeat. And it really you cannot talk to yourself. I call it talking sexy to yourself. You cannot speak to yourself in a very sexy way and lack confidence.
So what about because I get that if you in a place where you comfortable, and you said like stay away from or stay in places that I guess, help you maintain that confidence. And then you got these preventative measures that you do, like the affirmations. But what about at the point where it's potential that you'll face rejection? At the point where you see a guy that you might be interested in, or you're in an unfamiliar place, or you're around unfamiliar people, but you still want to present yourself as, attractive to be able to attract a potential partner. How do you get comfortable with facing rejection?
I mean, I don't approach men.
Okay.
Yeah.
I typically don't. So I don't directly approach men, but I will make myself approachable.
What does that
if
look
that's
like?
You can
what I
still
mean.
get you can still
And
feel
let
rejected,
me be
right?
clear, as confident as I am, I have experienced rejection. I don't think any of us are void or immune of the experience
Absolutely.
of being rejected.
You get no email.
Yeah.
I just got one. I don't even want to say the brand again. No.
I mean, but even as it relates to dating, like
Yeah.
I could be looking at you across the bar, and me making myself available is, just sipping my water, and I might just be, sipping my.
This what the signs look like, fellas. This what it looks like right here.
Right.
All right.
But
It
even
might-
that takes a
it might
level of
be that,
confidence
right?
to
It might
put
take
yourself out
that
there.
takes
Or
confidence.
when you look at
That
me,
does.
I
That
might
does.
bashfully, look away. Like, look, but not looking close. So you look close off if you're sitting at that same bar, the guy's looking at you, and you're like on the phone
Oh my
the whole
Yeah.
time. Like, that's unavailable. Being available is just making yourself approachable. Now, rejection in that sense is if I do have the confidence to like smile at you.
Right.
And you never come over and speak to me, you never say anything, that's a form of rejection, right? You just keep it moving. And I understand that rejection is not as easy for everybody to bounce back as it might be for me, but I have experienced I was born into rejection. My father, after 2 years old, was out of there. The very first man that I'm supposed to revere as a king abandoned me. My life started in rejection. I had to learn over the years how to cope with it, how to manage it, and not feel less than because somebody decided that I wasn't a good fit for their lives. And again, it goes back to the journey that you're on and the things that you've had to deal with, right? And understanding that we're all rejected. You've probably experienced rejection today, right?
Yeah.
And you just don't know it. It's I don't know the work that you do, honestly, to get through rejection. I just know that you have to get through rejection, and you can't live a life without it.
And I'll say this too. That's what confidence doesn't mean that you won't experience rejection and you'll get whatever you want. Confidence is when you do experience rejection, you don't internalize it. You brush it right off, and you keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I like that too because it's interesting. I never thought of it like that, but your confidence also has a lot to do with you being approached.
Oh, my goodness.
And you be
Yes.
having this approachable energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when one thing, for example, I won't approach a woman if she is not gonna give me. Most women that most guys feel comfortable approaching are comfortable giving that man a level of eye contact.
Yeah.
Eye contact is usually permission and an invitation in many ways to a man that she's interested.
Yeah.
If she give you that, fellas, you know what I'm talking about. She give that double take like that, pow, 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 pow. She look twice. She like what she see.
I don't do a look twice.
What is it for you,
Ryan,
though?
you're looking at me, right? From across the bar. I'll just do like a scan of the room very quickly, and I'll.
Oh, that's it.
That's
fellas,
good. I mean, that's a
that's
signal.
even better.
That's a signal.
That's even the smirk.
That's all you need.
But see, still, you got to be open to looking brothers in
I
their
have
eyes.
actually been bold enough to send a man a drink before.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
We've
wait,
had that.
wait,
We've
you
had
said
that. Yeah,
that's
we've had
hollering
that
at a man.
happen.
That's
Yes, I actually remember that. Now, I was tipsy when I did it, so I had liquid courage at
Yeah,
that point.
yeah.
Okay.
But I have actually sent a guy a drink before, and we ended up not dating. We ended up doing business, but it resulted in the relationship that should have happened. But yeah, we just got to be like, sometimes,
That's bold.
honestly, like, let me let my hair down just a little bit, because sometimes, ladies, you just got to let it loose and man up or woman up and just try stuff. You just got to try stuff. And if you're rejected, chances are that person will never ever see you again.
Right.
Who cares? Or have a wing woman with you, right? Like, it's not ideal if you're intentional about dating and attracting men. It's not ideal to go out in a large group of women.
Yeah.
Because your guys are intimidated about walking
Facts.
into a large group of women.
Facts.
But you and your girlfriend and y'all are out and you're looking happy. Like, looking happy makes you approachable.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
that's
Having a good
really
time.
it.
Having
That's
a good
really
time.
it. It's looking happy.
Yeah.
There were so many times when I was younger that I was just in this mode and had this like little attitude, this little bravado. But when you share that and you become happy with yourself,
Yes.
you literally are walking around, you got this bubbly personality. So you're in the gym, you can meet people because people are like, oh shoot, what's up? How you doing? This is a great opportunity to meet people. I'm telling you, the gym, not every gym, pick you a good gym, like a high paying profile gym. You know, like one of those.
First of all,
get a trainer.
Yes. We don't do gyms.
Get
we do
it?
athletic clubs.
Right.
Oh.
Well, I'm in a personal training studio.
Yeah,
so
Right. That's even more easy.
She training.
Right?
Yeah, I'm
Right.
training.
I seen what Brandy be on.
Yes,
Brandy back bigger than mine. I'm telling you.
Stop it. You will not.
Brandy is in shape.
You will not.
But you know
But
what?
I am in shape.
Brandy-
Yes, I am.
That's
That's
good.
a really
That's
good
good
point because
Yeah.
ladies, you're like, look, I want them to make 6 figures, 7 figures, and you're at the gym that the membership is $14.99 for, and I'm
Ooh.
like,
Don't make no
So
sense.
Planet Fitness won't work?
No.
Planet Fitness. I'm not looking.
No.
Now, could you
No.
be visiting and
No.
just at a
No.
Planet Fitness?
No.
Maybe.
That's a gym for people who
But
don't go to gym.
That's a gym for people who don't
And that's
go
not
to gym.
that's not the type of guy that I am attracted to. Is not
They
at
don't
a
want to
Planet
go.
Fitness.
They
That's
want
a fact.
something more
So
exclusive.
That's true.
The type of guy that I'm attracted to, he is working out just as much as me. He has a trainer. He is training. He is very dedicated to how he takes care of his body. So there's a certain place that he's gonna be in. But I also think, like, you know, I met a wonderful, wonderful guy. I was sitting at the bar at Capitol Grill, and here's a great for single ladies.
Yes.
Earlier this summer, I think Capitol Grill did a like $35 wine tasting. I didn't even know what it was, but it was on open table one night. I said, okay, I'm gonna go to this.
Call
I
me
don't-
next time.
I don't ever go to Capitol Grill. That's not my watering hole, right? But I said, you know what? It's open. They got a reservation. I had just got done taping the show. I said, I'll just go over there. Went over there, sat at the bar, and it was a seat open next to me. A guy ends up coming to sit down. This was clearly his watering hole. And I just like, oh, this your watering hole, huh? And smiled. We talked the whole night. I ended up canceling my plans that I had after that to sit there, talk to this man. We exchanged numbers. We've been out quite a few times. Really enjoyed him. He's such a good guy. But you have to be open to that. You know, you got to look the part. I had on a nice black dress. My hair was done, makeup, heels. I did I'm looking like if I were out on a date, you could take me out on a date right now.
Yeah.
You know, you could have dinner with me and want to. And so I think you have to position yourself. You know, it's also about positioning, you know, of yourself in spaces and places that afford you those opportunities.
As I'm listening to you, I am also, it makes me want to let you know too, it's also about knowing how to carry a conversation.
Yeah.
Like you got to have more to say than what you doing, where you at, my name is, this is what I do. Can you have a diverse conversation that kind of displays your range? Everybody has a range.
Yes.
Right? And the more you're able to communicate in a wide range, the more of your ideal mate you're going to attract. Well, how do you get that wide range? You need to start reading some books.
Yeah.
You need to start reading some books. You need to start talking to people who are different than you.
Traveling.
Travel the world. Talk to some
Yeah.
people who are smarter than you, but also different and unique, you know, from you as well. And watching documentaries, and approaching strangers that you would never even date. Like you might be sitting next to somebody on the plane. Talk to them. Like start to learn how to have different conversations. Men and women are attracted to that. I am super attracted to someone who can have a great conversation.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can be as fine and as wealthy as you want to be, but if what you doing me to death,
Yeah.
I'm not interested.
Oh,
Yeah.
goodness.
If all you can talk about is business, I am not interested. If all you can talk about is other people, I will end the date early. Like, you know, so that's really important too. Just hi. Or ladies, you seem to come here a lot. What do you recommend on the menu?
Oh, that's a good one.
It's a
It
wrap after
is.
that, because baby, if you look me in my eyes,
That's a good one.
it's over.
The
Well, then,
seductress.
and then also you giving a man an opportunity to, you know, showcase his leadership and,
Yes.
you know, provide you some level of expertise in
Yeah,
whatever his, you know,
absolutely.
the situation.
that's
going on.
that's an alley-oop, fellas.
That's
Don't be
really
like,
good.
But on the flip side, if a man says that to a woman, he's then giving her an opportunity to display her nurturing side.
Yeah.
Let me thoroughly explain this menu to you, because the lady's going to give you some options and why. It's not just going to be these lamb chops. Oh, these lamb chops, they're amazing. They put them in this soy glaze on top of these mashed potatoes with some scallions drizzled lightly over. Like, she's showing her level of care and nurturing just by recommending a food. Like, it's really easy to do this. And as I'm talking this out, why are we single?
Honestly, it's so funny because
Why are we single?
I have used that line. That is a good line for the ladies. I do like to. That's a great way, fellas. They putting y'all on. As a matter of fact, hold on, wait. We are hour in right now. Over
ready for the call-ins?
700 people in the chat right now. Right now, we got 283 people in here. Get it to 300, y'all. Get it to
283
300
likes.
And we're gonna take some call-ins real quick, okay? Go ahead. While I'm telling y'all who need to call in, go ahead and like this joint because let's go ahead. We're gonna have a good time. What I want, all right, ladies and or the guys, you can call in, all right, and you can be anonymous if you want, because I know y'all got these situations going down.
Just give us a fake name and city.
Right. But give me a fake name and a city, but I want your name, your location, and I want you to ask a question, particularly if you want some game on how to date better, okay? If you want some game on how to date better, because I like this conversation we having right now surrounding the dating. We're going to keep this going even after these call-ins. But Delano, go ahead and put the number up real quick. Let the people see it. And Ryan, any other announcements we got for the people? Let them know now before we go ahead and get it popping.
Shout out to Sakala. She just sent over a super chat. She says, I can't control what happens, but I can make the best choices for me. I agree with that.
Judith.
She's been a member for 2 months. Elite initiate.
Shout out to Judith.
Let's get that.
Let's put the headsets on. Delano, go ahead and make sure you put the
headset
volume up.
Oh, I love this.
Put the volume up, Delano. So
Hello,
make sure
I'm
you turn it.
calling in.
Hold on, wait 1 second, Judith. Make sure you turn off the podcast in the back. Go ahead, give me your name, location, and your question.
Hi, my name is Elise,
Hit
and
that
I
switch,
live in
Alana.
Chicago. My question is, I'm 30. I've had plenty of good relationships, but I am still a virgin, and I have sorry to put you guys on the spot, this is a rare question, but I have a rare sex disorder that prohibits me from having sex. But I'm still attractive, and I do attract good men. I just don't go too far with them. What would you suggest is the best way to handle a situation like that? Should I say that I'm celibate? Should I say I'm waiting for marriage? Or should I just be upfront and honest? And also, I do want to add that I've gone to therapy for it. It's just something that takes a while to heal.
Wow.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat the disorder that you said you have?
Yeah, it's a rare sex disorder. It's actually called vaginismus. And it's basically when your muscles tense when you're trying to, basically have sex.
And it makes
Don't know
it
if I can say that on
uncomfortable
air.
for you to have sex?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely believe that that's something that you communicate out of the gate.
Yeah.
As soon as you decide, hey, 3 dates in, this could be something we're having conversations about spending more time together. I definitely think that's something that you communicate right out of the gate. I think it's also an opportunity for you to make the journey easier for yourself by joining communities of people who may have a similar situation, right? And you may find a partner that has their own situation and you guys are going through that journey together. But before you even start dating, I don't know how to treat it. So I don't know if this is something that medicine treats or therapy treats, right? But I do think that you need to get to the bottom of why you're experiencing it and is there any type of resolve for it. And if there is some resolve, like getting on that journey to try to treat that particular diagnosis. Not having sex permanently in a relationship is going to be very, very challenging.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that we got a good understanding of this too, because I'm actually unfamiliar with this, but it pretty much is vaginismus is the body's automatic reaction to the fear of vaginal penetration.
Yeah. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. So yeah, that's probably going to, like, my best advice would be to dive heavily into therapy and something that's a constant, very, very consistent. So this isn't like I see my therapist once a month. You might need to see your therapist 2 or 3 times a week to figure out if there's something you can do. And then also explaining this to your partner and making it clear to them, like, this is an issue that I'm working through. I just need someone here that A, spends the amount of time or invests the amount of time in me that makes me feel comfortable, makes me feel more relaxed and going through this issue with me. Like if you're honest and you find someone who maybe is on the journey of celibacy themselves, they may be open to going through that journey with you, and that might be the safety that you need to experience in order to engage comfortably in sex.
Totally agree with that. 1,000%.
Look, thank you so much for going up here and giving us a call. What's your name again? Was it anonymous?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
What was your name again?
Oh, I'm using a fake name.
Fake
Okay.
name.
All
Hey,
right,
look, no
fake
problem.
name.
Listen,
Fake
fake
name.
name. Thank you so much. Much love. And we're going to get to the next caller now.
That is very interesting. Badger.
I would have not known how to answer that question. Thank you
Yeah.
for that one here.
That was very good. Good job.
Yeah.
Great job. Great answer.
I think I would just date celibate people.
Well, I do think it's very important that, honesty is the best policy. So at some point, once, that person expresses genuine interest, but long-term interest, I think at that
You've
point.
got to communicate that.
Absolutely.
I though would still waddle in the pool of celibate men because men who are actively engaged in sex would just add a layer of pressure.
Absolutely.
So I would find someone who's committed to a different set of values for
Yeah.
whatever their reasons
Yeah.
are, that we can go ahead and start that journey. So while you're
Absolutely.
still meeting the criteria of what you need to meet to not be celibate anymore, I'm working on this other issue in the background, and it's something that we can work on together.
For sure.
I think that'll be a
No,
good strategy.
I get it. That is good. We got somebody live on here, Lano. Hey, welcome to Hardly Initiated. How are you?
What's good?
Not tonight.
They froze up on here,
Not
Lano?
tonight.
Listen, y'all better not call up here and be freezing up on the show.
Yeah,
Okay?
listen, 700 people in the room. I think we gotta have a show on that.
What's that?
On some of those ailments that may come and
That
prevent you
is,
from.
you know,
from
Yeah,
having
that
because
is
that seems
true.
like a trauma has occurred somewhere in her life
Yeah.
to have where it creates a fear. Because what you just read said there's a fear
Yeah.
of vaginal penetration. So obviously there was a trauma that occurred, whether it's in the subconscious or in the forefront of her mind, that she should probably go, dive deep into.
That's psychological too.
It
Absolutely.
is.
So-
It's 100%.
Yeah.
And I think it's many things that people deal with that they're just afraid, whether it's a disease or, some kind of like trauma or some fears that people are afraid to divulge before they end up getting into that, long-term situation.
And that's why I am an advocate of going into communities that have people dealing with similar issues.
Right.
If you're dealing with some type of incurable situation, like I'm not saying you can only date in those pools, but if you're not dating at all because of it, because you're embarrassed by it, find people who are in a similar situation and y'all rock that thing on out.
Yeah.
Yes, and listen, you can, guys, again, you can call up to ask us anything. I want anybody that's having some, want to get some game on dating, want to date better, even got some questions with somebody that you may be dating right now, feel free to call up and we're going to go ahead and take good care of you. We had Dr. Bobby Price on here, and we talked about it more so from the men's side because a lot of the ladies have been talking about they was experiencing erectile dysfunction at a high level.
Yeah.
Like a lot of women, and it's happening younger with men who are... Hold on, wait. Why you looking? You look like you got a testimony over there.
I actually do not.
Okay, good.
Thank God.
Good.
Thank God.
So, I mean, she dating dudes that's in the gym.
Absolutely,
They got
and
they got
who really do take care of their health, and that's a very important part of that.
Yes.
It is, when we talk about food, when we talk about what goes in is what comes out. So many, and I hear this from so many young people, like in their 20s and early 30s, who are experiencing that. And that really plays into diet. It plays into exercise. It plays into lack of sleep. Some of y'all are playing video games all night. Y'all drinking Coca-Cola all day, eating lunch meat all day. You know what I'm saying? And all of that is playing into how you're able to perform in the bedroom.
And we're going to talk about that. We got somebody live here. Welcome to Hardly
the
Initiated.
show. Name and what city you from, and hit us with your question.
Hey, what's going on, people?
Oh, we got the fellas.
That's
Shout
my
out
name.
to the bros.
First ever brother on a live call, by the way.
Let's
But
go.
go ahead.
Can you two hear this?
That's
Yes.
my name,
Yeah.
the King.
So go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah, we ready for you.
All right, so this is what's going on. I'm in my early 50s,
Nice.
and I still get erections. Morning wood. It can happen anytime, any place.
That's what
My
I'm talking
point
about,
is-
brother.
I had a relationship with this woman, and prior to that relationship, not a problem with the performance. Sometimes, pre-ejaculation every now and then, but it was never a problem helping my partner reach an orgasm. So this previous relationship I had, I was told that I wasn't hitting her spots. So she was kind of trying to be nice about it. Basically, it's my endowment.
Mm.
So that really damaged me for a minute.
Mm.
And, I confided in my boy about it. We bounced around the topic and, tried to talk it out and stuff like that. But that really caused a little bit of challenge to my self-esteem. I'm not going to lie.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like I said, prior to that person, that woman, that was never told to me. I mean, it was a sit-down conversation about it.
Mm-hmm.
So my thing is, moving past that, and since there's ladies on the panel, how would you talk to your partner about that, or would you even talk to your partner about that?
How would I tell him that I was sexually unsatisfied or that there was an issue with his size?
Size, yeah.
Issue with the size.
Whew.
Y'all not prepared for these questions enough. First of all, great question,
going
brother.
deep.
Yeah,
Because-
it really is. Thank you for
And
sharing
I appreciate
that.
you being vulnerable on here, keeping it real with us.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I've never heard that actually expressed. But I mean, it's a real thing that happens. And I think that's a great question because a lot of the ladies have came on in one way or another and had issues communicating different forms of sexual dissatisfaction,
Yeah.
whether it was not having sex enough, their libido being low. And now in this case here, brother saying endowment
Right.
is what one person to communicate dissatisfaction with. And all women, though, across all issues, say they do have issues understanding how to communicate these sexual issues to a man, knowing his ego, his confidence is usually connected
Shout out to that lady
his sexual
for speaking up
performance.
about that, though.
So I have a very hard time hurting people's feelings. I specifically have a difficult time hurting the feelings of a man that I care about because his ego is also attached to it. And I know that men thrive in the space of being admired and respected on a different level. So I might not necessarily, and I've been there before. I didn't necessarily comment on the size. I just offered suggestions in what I would prefer, because you can do things, right? I mean, unless it's just like not there, I'm not going to put my hands away. Unless it's just not there at all, there are things that you can do. Size really, let me be honest with you. These women who are out here talking about 8 inches and 10 inches, I don't want any parts
No,
of that.
thank you.
Not for
let's
the
get
rest
some
of
clarity
my life,
on it, though,
right?
Donnie. What size is it?
I don't know what size. I mean, are you a
I'm
grower
talking-
or a
asking.
shower?
I'm talking to the
Oh,
to
you,
them.
right.
Yeah.
Sir.
So you can. So I
What do you want to know?
What size is it?
If you want to share.
Erect. What size is it? Jesus, I can't
Oh,
believe this.
me? I would say about 7, close to 7.
Hold on.
Oh, no.
What kind of listen? Hey, listen. Get rid of that girl. Get rid
DM
of
me a
that girl.
picture real quick.
First of all, are you in
A 7.
you in the Congo or something? What is she used to?
It's the
Wait
thing.
a minute. The
Real
vaginal
talk. I mean,
canal is
real-
only
real
so
men, real
big
talk,
and
real
so
shit, right?
so
Here's the
long.
thing. I got a little curve.
Okay.
I got a little curve.
Plus.
So I
there.
think that may be a problem in certain positions because of the curve.
Okay.
But certain positions are also your friend because you do have a curve. So there are positions that may be a lot better for you to have that sexual pleasure from your partner.
Yes.
Maybe that's her laying down on the bed, on the stomach, you entering her from, I cannot believe I'm having
That's
this
what I just
No,
said.
I know.
I
No,
can't
I'm gonna be
believe that.
honest. This is
Hey.
sex is a very important part of
Absolutely.
of
I knew
relationships.
y'all were gonna flip the script on us somehow.
I
I am
didn't-
a business
We
coach.
did not pay the
Carly
gentleman.
is a sex expert. Y'all should have had her on this show, okay?
No, you know what? And I'm gonna tell you this though, brother. Like you don't
Yeah.
have a size issue.
Oh no.
Yes,
So
definitely
let's
not.
just be
Please
very
no.
clear here.
7 inches.
This is not.
Okay.
This has not like. So your confidence should not be hurt. I think even
No.
like statistically, I think the average male's penis
like 5.
It's like 5 inches, bro.
Yeah.
Like you're actually above average of men at this point.
Yeah.
So if anything, if you just need to really get some game, we've done a lot of episodes on sex, And I'm gonna be honest with you, I've been learning myself a lot.
Yeah.
There's like 6 different spots that you can hit inside of a woman. I didn't even know about 6 different spots. You just gotta educate yourself on just sex in general, because that's one thing us as men don't do. We don't really dig in on how to please women. So it's more of a really understanding the woman's body, and specifically your woman, right? That you're actually like exploring her body and just the understanding the fundamentals of sex in general. That I think that alone will take you to the next level versus worrying about the size of your penis. But
And
that's
if she's
not the
still not
situation.
happy, there's plenty of women I see in the chat right now. They saying they
They'll take a
would
7.
love to take a nice 7.
is perfect.
I feel like porn culture has really done us such a disservice.
And
when
by
you
the
talk
way,
about
and
sex
brothers,
and
go ahead.
intimacy.
Look, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get to the next call. But I appreciate you coming on here and asking. That was a great question, brother. I appreciate you. Okay.
All right, no problem. Y'all be
Yeah,
blessed.
he
Thank
does
you.
Yes,
not.
sir.
7 inches is not a size problem.
And
Yeah,
then
she
you
got
have
a
to
problem.
ask,
What's
you got to
going on?
qualify the person who's giving you, like, at that point, I want to know, what have you experienced, darling?
She done been
She
damn
is-
DP.
I'm like,
She was mean.
What-
Hold on, let me see. Y'all get me turning back up here.
what have you
Keep it clean.
experienced?
She
And
met Jason Love.
maybe she's been with a partner for the last 10 years that had 10 inches or
was-
more.
yeah,
and
who was
7
very
inches
large,
feels
yeah.
significantly different.
Yeah.
Maybe she.
Yeah.
Listen, I gotta talk to the cameraman. Listen, if somebody ever call up here again talking about the small penis, please remove the camera from my face. Okay, what is wrong with him? He done zoomed. He had everybody on the
The
camera.
funny thing is, Donnie started like saying like, so if you got issues, okay, if you got issues,
Let me put my hands down. And that wasn't even his
That wasn't
issue.
even his
She
issue.
had to smack her hand down.
It
She's like,
was
let me.
not.
I'm so,
7
and I'm like, I
inches?
mean, because there's levels to this.
Right.
And I don't mean any disrespect, but even if you do, there are positions and
Yes.
things that you can do with the smallest size situation.
That-
And
Yeah.
you just that this is where growing and maturing comes in, because we
Yeah.
all fall
Yeah.
short somewhere. And this is like when you sit down and you have to have a conversation like, okay, that didn't pleasure you, what will?
All right. So we got another one coming in. All right, go ahead. All right. So look, welcome to Hardly Initiated. Give me your name, your location, and your question.
And we done had it juicy, so you better come with it. What you got for us?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
another guy.
What's up, King?
Yes.
What's good?
What
What's
up,
good?
King?
Listen, bring 'em out,
Clearly,
bring 'em out.
we have no
Okay.
trouble attracting the men.
What's
No
up, brother?
problem.
Name and city, and what's your question?
Thank you. My name is Demonte Percy, and I'm from Fort Myers, Florida.
Okay, what's up?
Yes, sir. My question is, how do you overcome the societal conformities, especially as a 25-year-old man nowadays? Like being an average man, because most of YouTube talks about how like most 1% men can make it, but most men can't relate like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So pretty much
So
you want to know.
that's
Go ahead.
A majority. That's not a majority. That's not a generalization. Common thing. It's an uncommon thing.
Yeah.
So having a scale like that, not everybody has the same baseline. Not everybody eats at the same table. So that's difficult to comprehend in some circumstances, or it's rather internally is demeaning, but it's hard for men to say that. But I'm be real with you, and I'm gonna say that. But internally is demeaning because you have to realize like it's hard to get to that level. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna go ahead and give y'all a second to spit on some wisdom.
Listen, I feel you on that, because it is difficult getting to those higher levels, and everybody starts at a different place. But this is the thing, man. It's only one being in this world that can truly affirm you, and that's the Lord himself. So if you have to really dig in internally to figure these things out. And now, don't get me wrong, it's good to be motivated. You know, it's good to see, tap into some of these conversations to kind of see what people think. But you can't really focus on where you're currently at. What you got to do is focus on the activities and being consistent to get you where you want to be. And you just can't be mad at, or upset by some of the information that's put out there, because it's the thing, man. Most people are average. That's just the reality of the situation. But rather than focus on where you're currently at, you really need to focus on all the activities it takes to improve yourself. And once you do that, and once you begin to see yourself as more than average, or at minimum capable of being more than average, then you'll be able to see your mindset change. Because I was one of those guys who was going out looking at all the things, trying to cure all my symptoms for not being confident or not being able to get women and all these different things. And when you do that, you end up putting yourself in a situation to where you become just as manipulative and toxic as all the people out there teaching it.
Yeah.
But what I found, you have to become a whole man. So rather than go after the symptoms, you got to cure the base, the root cause, which is your self-worth.
Yeah.
And you cannot find your self-worth anywhere outside of the best spiritual works. And this is the thing. It's just like your iPhone. It comes with a manual. The way you guys use your iPhone is completely different from the way I use mine. But this is the thing. There is a manual for life. And it's 3 good ones out there, right? You got the Torah, you got the Quran, and you got the Bible. You can follow whichever one you want to. But the principles that are latent in those books will teach you exactly how to think, how to feel, because as a man thinketh, so is he.
Yeah.
So working on yourself is really the best way that you can get that. You can
Right.
get
And
over
it
that.
better come through with the word.
I'm gonna be honest with you. It's not easy being a man, right? That's just the reality of the situation. And right now, you're probably being inundated with images of men who are constantly successful in a better situation than you, who have all these luxuries of life. One, you got to realize that a lot of what you see is not real. Okay, so please don't get caught up in the fantasy of what you see on a regular basis, because that alone can really beat. Like, they even show, the more you scroll, the more people scroll, they literally get, your mind can literally depress itself the more you actually scroll online.
Yes.
And see these different things, and because all you do is compare yourself against everything you see where you are not. So what you gotta do, brother, is truly stay in your lane, like avoid those comparison traps. And a lot of times, if you can fall in that place where, because you're communicating how demeaning it is and how you feel right now, you might just even need to remove yourself from social media altogether and really tap in, bro. Really tap in with yourself, who you are, where you want to go, and focus on that path and stay in your lane. Yeah. And if you just focus on laying a brick every single day, you're going to look up. You're still a young man at 25 years old.
Right.
You're going to look up and it's going to be a whole fortress built if you just commit to the activities. So don't focus on what you don't have. Don't focus on what everybody else got. Just focus on who you are, where you want to go, and the activities required to do so consistently every single day. That's it. It's simple.
And it has nothing to do with money. It has nothing to do with looks. It's much bigger than that. It's really masculine leadership. And masculine leadership must first manifest itself internally with you. So if you cannot lead yourself, there's no way that you'll be able to possibly lead a woman or even steward over a family. So I was in that position, man. Like, I was 30 years old. I was depressed. I didn't have any hobbies. I had a lot of issues with women, numerous issues. And I was really just focused on, like I said, the symptoms and not what myself. So the thing is, when I started to really, I wanted to become, I realized that the men that were having these options were men that were actually good to themselves. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, yo, let me be good to myself. Let me go on some trips. Let me have something. Let me actually be interesting.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's it right there. What you lack in finance, you have to make up for in character.
Yep.
And be interesting. That's the best thing that you've said. Be interesting. What else do you have to bring to the table other than money? I know you're 25 years old. You want to date. You want to date the type of women that you probably see the men who you admire are dating. I'm going to recommend at 25 years old that you definitely lock in with a mentor. Like, find a mentorship group. Maybe even find a men's group that is solely related around like maybe belief and confidence. They kind of go hand in hand, listening to you. I believe that you can use some belief coaching or some belief studying, just overall, right? Affirmations, like we talked about earlier, are going to serve you too as a man. If I think of a book that is relevant for you, I would definitely, I know what started my journey to believing at a bigger level. My favorite book of all time, what kind of started my career. It's called The Secret. You can watch it. You can read it. You can listen to it. The Secret, Bob Proctor. Bob Proctor is my favorite belief coach of all time. I would really dig deep into him. You can't immerse yourself in that level of coaching and not change and not grow. And the more your mind grows, the more your money grows. And that's really, really important. As long as you continue to believe that you are average, as long as you continue to say things like that, as long as you continue to allow things to make you feel like you're being, like it's demeaning to you, that immediately signifies that there's a belief issue on the inside and a confidence issue. And I would recommend that you start there.
Yes, and I got a book for you. It's by Robert Kim, and his book is called, and this probably describes you, I Used to Be a Miserable Fuck. That's the name of the book. And when I tell you, this is a man that, I mean, he was deeply getting emasculated, having the most financial issues. Now he's a 2-time best-selling author. He is, vetting some of the most beautiful women in the world. And what he talks about is all of the work that you have to do. And he literally gives you a framework as a man for these preventative measures to put in place, and also things that you can do to improve yourself as a man. And one of the biggest things that I got from that book is to identify and find a community. And
and speaking on that, I'm gonna end on this because we're gonna let you go right after this, brother. But you could have went
I wanted to get another perspective from y'all.
Hold on, no, brother. We got listen. We
appreciate you though.
we gotta end it right here. We're gonna end it right here. But I want to tell you this before you go. I want to tell you this. You could have went a lot of different places in the state you at. You could have went to the dark side with it. You could have went. It's a lot of dark communities that feed off brothers who are not confident, who are not where they want to be, and you could have went to, a place that could have took you down a rabbit hole and a dark alleyway of just places you don't want to go, because a lot of the men that I know, and even myself, treaded down some of those alleyways to try to find yourself and find how you need to excel as a man. But I'm happy you came here, because actually coming to Harley Initiated, that's a big reason why we created this platform, is so you could have a healthy home here. So just the fact that you are here watching shows like this with the type of conversations and people that we have on this platform shows that you are moving in the direction of community, and that you are taking a step in the direction of going the right way, especially at the age of 25, brother. Yeah. You are not old, you are young, and you will figure this shit out. But other than that, much love to you. I appreciate you calling up, and we're going to go ahead and get to the next thing, man. So much love to you.
I just dropped that book in the chat, by the way.
At 25 years old, regardless of what it looks like online, you're supposed to be pretty damn average.
I mean,
25. I mean,
young.
You're 25 years old,
golly,
right?
Yeah. Your frontal lobe is just developing.
We got the super chats going crazy. Hey, welcome to the show.
This is the last call we're going to take care. Welcome to Harley Initiated. Give me your name. Oh, wait, you got to mute the show in the back. You got to mute the show. There you go.
What's good?
Give me your name, your location, and your question.
My name is Savannah. I live in Atlanta. So I am,
Savannah.
This is a lightweight question, I guess, but I am new to going out by myself. So I want to be able to go out, meet guys. I know I don't want to go to just the highest class restaurant. I'm not there yet. So what tips can you give for like my venture out? And my other thing too, I've noticed I'm working on my facial expressions. I can kind of tell I have a resting face while I'm out. So I am working on that. That's something I know that I have going on. But what can I do?
Oh, I definitely think other places, you don't just have to go to high-end restaurants. There are sporting events, there are sports bars that you can go to. For all my ladies who, I think sporting events are really a great way to meet men. And I don't know, I don't know what high end, low end is for people. I have no idea what that can mean. But whether you're taking some lessons, whether you're at a gym, those are great places to meet guys. But I want to say that you're presenting yourself in a way that would you be attracted to you? I think when we go out, we have to think about that men are visual creatures, and they are looking at us, they're looking at our physical body, they're looking at how we carry ourselves, and depending on the type of man that you want, he is.
Hold on 1 second. We got some noise in the background, so end that conversation, end that real quick. Delano, we're going to answer your question off air, okay?
Hey, thank you so much for calling.
Thank you so much. Go ahead, please, Brandy.
But there are so many things that you can do, but you have to be aware of also how you're showing up and presenting yourself to be attractive. And so nobody's saying that you got to have on the full bead and the lashes and the hair and the makeup and all that kind of things, but you do want to pull yourself together. Like, I mean, it's little simple stuff like lotion your ankles. Like, have some hand cream in your purse so your hands are not ashy. You know, like, it's little things that we can do that we think that you want a detail-oriented man. You want a man who's a leader. You want a man who's taking charge. Well, he's looking at certain things that are very specific on a woman. You got chipped nail polish. Ooh. Well, there are men who don't want to sit out with a woman who has chipped nail polish or chipped toenail polish, and you like, oh, I'm gonna get them done this weekend. It won't happen. Well, it's Monday. You're not getting them done till Saturday. Well, I want to take you out on Friday. Yeah. Honey, you're not ready to go where I'm trying to take you. So I think it's like also being in places, but also looking the part when you are in those spaces. Yeah. Whether you want to get you some golf lessons and hang out at the golf club, that's a great way to meet people. But, you know, you just have to look the part, you know, even if you're in a grocery store.
Also, you mentioned you're in Atlanta, but this can happen anywhere. Atlanta just so happens to be one of the major hubs for business conferences, trade shows, things like that. I love going to a professional network conference, right? But don't go in there. I'm starting to notice a lot of women showing up like they're going to the club.
Oh yeah, they are.
Yeah, and you may get the attention of these men. You may even get their phone numbers, but they really talking about you in the group chat.
They are.
They're talking about you when we go to dinner after the fact, right? If you're going into these professional conferences and these professional networking events, show up like you are a woman who has some business about yourself.
Who's in that profession.
Who's in that lane. You can carry that conversation. Yeah. They will feel comfortable bringing you back next time with them on their arm. They can't bring you back dressed like, you know, that. So just be really, really aware.
I mean, seriously, because I think like in this culture we really are not holding ourselves accountable, and we are not holding women accountable. And we have got to stop saying, well, girl, it's just how I am. Girl, I just show up how I want to show up. Girl, he better take me as I am. No. If you want better, you do have to do better. Yeah. And it's going to require some things from you. Yes. Even conversations, the type of men that we say we want and desire, but can we hold conversations if he takes you to the business meeting? Is he going to be embarrassed or looking around the room to see, well, what's she talking about now? What's she saying?
Does he have to call you first to ask you what you're wearing?
Oh, God.
Wow.
I'm right.
That's a thing.
I never even thought about that.
Really?
That is a thing.
That's a thing.
I've never had to.
That is a thing.
You got to leave that one alone, fellas.
Oh
no, you concerned about how she gonna?
She's gonna. That's a thing.
No, but I want y'all to peep this, because this was very important in what this young lady said. She said, she made this very clear, and this could be slick, but you got to peep this. She said, I don't want to go to places that's too high class because I'm not ready for that.
I think she meant financially. And let me tell you the trick for that, ladies. If you are looking for, if that's on your list and you're looking for men who frequent those type of environments, number one, we got to step ourselves up. Like, I don't believe in the something for nothing philosophy, right? Like, you have to become something to, even when you're in those places, you're either going to stick out like a sore thumb or you're going to look like you belong. If you happen to belong and you know you're working on some stuff and your mindset is there, your money just hadn't caught up yet, order an appetizer.
Yeah.
Just get an appetizer and get you something. Get you a tea,
club soda,
appetizer, and you keep it. And you sit at the bar. We do the restaurant strategy wrong. Y'all are going to get a table for one. Nobody's gonna approach you at your table.
No.
Come sit at the bar.
The bar.
Listen, they have a nice game on. They got a game on.
You got to sit at the bar. And if you're nervous about communicating with the men at the bar, communicate with the bartender.
That's
and when you're talking to the bartender, they're overhearing your conversation and they're saying, "Oh, she's cool, she's dope."
That's it.
Send her a drink.
That's deep game.
And this is what we're actually about to get into right here, by the way, because we're gonna go ahead and get into. We done with the calls for the day. So no more calls.
Though, man.
We are actually going to go ahead and talk about this dating game for the ladies, because I think that there is a right way to date.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right? Or at least at bare minimum a better way to date.
Absolutely.
Let me tell y'all, the game of going to the bar, because as a man, you got to think about how the men think, right? One, we talked about this on a previous show. I'm not approaching a woman with, like, if you with 4 or more women, I'm not really doing that.
That's
because
the girls' night out.
That's the girls' night out.
Let me
That's the
tell you,
girls'
because
night
at this
out.
point,
It's not a go out to meet
we
man night.
understand as a
no.
man, we're going to have to take down the whole pack
Yes.
in order to get you.
And honestly, usually, guys, when we're with 4 or more women, we're not sending out a signal that we want to be approached. This is girls' night out. Somebody in the group is going through something. Somebody's celebrating something.
Absolutely.
We just want to have fun.
Absolutely.
If we happen to see something that happens to catch our eye, maybe, but we're not putting that energy out there.
Yeah.
I think so. I know you ladies talked about certain places to meet men, but you know it is a thing. Like if you stay ready, you don't got to get ready.
Yep.
And we was actually at the coffee shop. This was like 3 days ago.
Yeah.
Right. And I was on my laptop working. I just had this smell just came across my nose, and I looked up. And when I looked up, Tyshawn was looking up, Delano was looking up, and we was all looking at the same lady. And she looked amazing. I mean, her energy was radiant.
Yeah.
And we
At 9:30 a.m.
in the coffee shop. Did not expect to see that woman
Heels
walk through
on,
there.
clacking, click, click, click. Had it styled.
And because we all caught each other out, we just bust out laughing because it was all thinking the same thing. Wow,
Yeah.
this woman is gorgeous.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, she did her job because all of the men in there were interested. So she really had a plethora of options to choose from.
Yeah.
But the reason I say that is because I do think at that point, now I'm not sure if she know the game or what the situation was, but she was being present. And I think that's something that we all can do. We all can work on a lot better, both men
You
and
said
women.
she was being present.
Present.
Oh, okay.
Exactly. Well, present as in when she woke up and left the house, she was like, I'm gonna be able
She
to
was
present.
intentional.
I was saying
She was
intentional.
She was
very
intentional.
She was being presentable.
Yeah.
She
Presentable.
presented
Exactly.
herself
Yeah.
in an appropriate
Yeah.
way. Like,
and she was intentional about
you
it.
smell good. The first thing that you smell good. You open that door and your smell introduces you before you do. Like, that's already checked. They look up and you look nice, check. Your clothes look together,
Shining.
check.
You listen.
Right? You speak well,
Yeah.
check. But you know what happens though, Ryan?
What's that?
Which one of y'all tried to holler at her?
Oh, I did. I was victorious.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay, because I was going to say women sometimes don't put in a lot of effort because y'all will look all day long and not approach anybody.
Yeah.
That-
Yeah.
We work with the guys. We work on that with the guys. We
Yeah.
want to get them to be more assertive in that arena. But yeah, it does seem to be more prevalent. Guys just, no matter how beautiful or open she is, guys just will not approach.
We're in a very strange time, and I think, unfortunately, I don't see our guys approaching more and more as our culture proceeds on this
they're not.
online world. I think men are probably not as skilled communication-wise
Yeah.
as they probably had to be prior. They're not as assertive or as bold as they were. I think men are, probably they've always been terrified of rejection, but it's probably more than ever before right now. And guys will probably more likely go for the low-hanging fruit or the online approaches now. I think online flirting now and online DMs is, if we talk to guys over a spectrum, it's probably more so how they're being assertive versus than in person. And I know this is true just based on the friends and the men that I know, especially men at the higher levels. Majority of the women I know they're dating at this point are coming from online, is the reality of the situation. So I would agree, fellas, I think that's an opportunity for the fellas.
Yeah.
Because if you know that guys are probably less likely to approach women in real life, I think women are starved. For that attempt,
Yes,
a woman,
not
especially
starved.
Okay, I'm talking to the fellas here. I'm talking to the fellas here.
It's
all right?
a connection
They're not
crisis.
starved. Like, fellas, lock
Yeah.
in right here.
Lock in. Deep
What I
game.
mean is, if you see a woman intentionally outside looking good, you know how much time it took for her to look this way. There was time and intention put in for her to get this way. She would like for this to be addressed. It's a reason she's looking this good, especially if she's a single woman. Listen, attention. She would appreciate your attention, is what I'm saying.
Well, see,
so that is an opportunity for y'all, fellas. We need to be. I agree. We need to be more assertive in those ways.
We do. I think, man. I really studied the game, man. I think we have this issue of objectifying women. So when we see these beautiful women, we want to speak to them, but because we have objectified them, we're thinking about the sex, getting all the way to the sex, from seeing them, smelling them to sex. And when you do that, you conjure up this level of anxiety and nervousness that will literally stunt you from ever speaking to the woman. And see, that's when I tell men that you have to value yourself first. So the reason you objectifying this woman is because you don't even care about your body and what you're doing with your own body. So you immediately think, hey, let me get this woman in the bedroom. Yeah. But if you start to value yourself and your time, then you're not going to jump to sex. You're going to jump to, hey, is this woman even worthy of me having a conversation with her? Let me take an opportunity to actually get to know this woman. And women can sense that. So in that situation, just a couple of times I spoke to her, really feeling her out, getting to know her. The owner of the coffee shop came up to me and was like, "Yo, she's really dope. Like, you need to go have another conversation with her, right?" So at that point, I was so comfortable because I'm thinking about, hey, evaluating her to be in my presence and to get my attention. And when you do that, so many things about your body and your breathing is able to relax for you to actually facilitate a healthy conversation and then potentially move on to asking to continue the conversation. I think that's another thing. People, they don't even know why they getting the phone number, right? So.
Well, because you all, the generation before, they didn't have to call somebody's house and ask for, hey, Ms. Harvey, can I speak to Brandy? Hey, Ms. Harvey, can I speak to, is Stephen home? Like, y'all don't have that. So everybody just had a cell phone. So now just give me your number at school or your Snapchat and I'm gonna
direct access.
You have to. So you never had to face an obstacle. You never had to meet a father on the phone. You never had to come over in court on Sunday like you had to do at my house. It was Sunday dinner. If he is coming to Sunday dinner to see you. He is coming where everybody is here, all the family is here. He can sit up in his hot kitchen while I fry this chicken and I get to know who this man is and why he wants to spend time with you. But because this new generation doesn't have that, now it's like, so if I do approach you, because I haven't been rejected and somebody daddy ain't never hung up the phone on me, because of my mama ain't never told me, no, she can't talk today, this is my line, you haven't already started to understand that, wait a minute, if I just go up to somebody, there might be a chance she don't like me, and there might be a chance she is feeling me. So the rejection part, in jumping that hurdle, you all have got to start, being more available to even be connected to a woman.
Agreed.
Like the connection, the music doesn't say connection. The Instagram doesn't say connection. Really think about our parents. Our parents grew up, wanting to ask somebody to dance. You had to ask somebody to dance with you. You had to ask somebody out with you. All those things that this generation really doesn't have.
And that raises a really good point, because not only does that give you the experience for the first time of being rejected, but it also creates the habit of having the mindset of, I have to meet somebody's standards to be good enough for this person. I can't just show up at her house dressed any kind of way. Her mother's not going to let me in. I can't show up at her house looking any kind of way. Her father's not going to approve the date. Like when we were growing up, the guys before you could go on a date with somebody, I need to meet him. What's his family about? Like, what's going on?
Who are his people?
Probably had a phone conversation with his mom before I was even allowed to go on a date. Like, there were just... And so when we're talking about standards, that's how we grew up. Look, you come into my house now, my mom likes this, and this. Don't blow this. You had to measure up, not to me, but to my parents.
To the tribe.
To the tribe.
The community had to approve you first. And so because we don't have that, now you have all these men who are saying, well, I'm not confident enough to ask her out. Or I don't know how to slide in her DMs. You don't even know how to have a simple conversation with a woman. And how else do you build intimacy and trust and relationship and care and concern if you all are not even having conversation?
Because even then, at that time when you were coming for Sunday dinner, you were listening to our parents. Oh, when she was growing up, let me tell you, this is what she had going on. Where's your family from? Where'd you grow up?
What church y'all go to?
What church did you go to? What do you do? What are your grades looking like? What do you want to do for your future? You had to have a genuine interest in the getting to know phase. And that is what's missing so devastatingly right now.
Absolutely.
Nobody is genuinely interested in getting to know. Everybody's just trying to check boxes off of a list. It's just like, yep, he's cute. Yep, he got money. Yep, she's fine. Yes, this, and this. And then you end up in a relationship with this person or even married to this person and you realize, well, we don't have anything in common.
I don't even know you.
I don't even know you. I don't like you.
Yeah.
What's your favorite color again? Like, we are missing the element of the getting to know. And that part, that's where the intimacy is formed, and that part is so much fun. And maybe it's that we have some of these old school values and we're looking for that. We're missing that because I'm really sitting here like, why are we single? But then I am also thinking about some of the approaches that I have experienced and some of the men not having the ability to have a conversation. Like, you know, I'm not the person who's really turned on by the, you know, what's the move after this? I mean, are you
That's a
asking,
classic.
are you really
Right,
asking me
right.
what the move is, or are you asking, like, are you interested, right?
Right.
Like,
Right.
I'll give you my number and you like, what you doing, beautiful? Where you at, beautiful? Call me, beautiful. Boy, if you don't pick up that phone.
Pick up the phone.
Pick up the phone. Like, I need you to be interested in getting to know me, genuinely interested in getting to know me.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So this is a good conversation because I want to keep going in this direction here because I don't think the fellas know, and I'm inspired because 2 fellas just called up here, so y'all locked in. The fellas
this
is
is
in the
dope.
building here.
I'm very excited
tonight.
about that.
And fellas, it's over 800 people right now watching this video all at once. So fellas, if you in here, a lot of these ladies are single. I need all my fellas, my single fellas right now to drop your Instagrams. In fact, I need all my single ladies and fellas, drop your IGs
Wow.
right
Okay,
now.
connection.
In
Wow.
here. We're going to actually, we going to have some fun in here tonight.
Did y'all tell
so
them
go
to
ahead and
share
drop
this
them.
video too?
Yeah, listen, make sure y'all share this video. I mean, listen, we got some time left. We're going to keep these ladies, we're not going to keep them up too late.
Okay.
Yes.
But we're going to take care of them. But guys, share this video, please. If you know any singles, male or female,
Have them join this
have them
conversation.
join this conversation.
And look, right now,
Especially the men.
before we get to this next part too, we have 417 likes with 800 people. Let's push it to 500 as we transition in here because what I'm about to figure out
Yeah,
is
we got some super
things
chats, too.
The fellas need to improve on. Let's hit these super chats before we go into where the fellas need, how the fellas can improve in that approach, in that dating process, because that's a really good conversation.
Shout out to Diana De La Trinidad for sending over the super chat. Shout out to Judith Sakala for sending over them big bucks. Judith, we appreciate you. Shout
Much
out to Nicole
love.
Joseph. I like that, Nicole. She says, I am proud to be a part of this platform. I love that. That's
Yes.
sweet. We appreciate that. Shout out to Francesca Riddick for dropping. She balling. She's bought a bottle for everybody. 5 memberships. She's bought 5 memberships. Listen, y'all show Francesca some love. And shout out to Loving Me Forever. It says, I came from a long-term DV relationship. What is it?
Domestic violence.
Oh,
wow.
wow, okay. And I was sexually assaulted. Just now dating, and I get nervous at the thought of a man touching me. This is a good question for you ladies. How do I explain to a guy I need to take it very slow without scaring him off?
Just that.
Yeah.
I experienced a domestic violence relationship as well in college. And I mean, it was really bad. That person tried to take my life.
Wow.
So you can imagine the apprehension that I had when dating, you know, again. And as embarrassing as you may feel in that moment, or as victimized as you may feel in that moment, you just have to let people know, like, hey, I experienced trauma, that I'm not closed off. I just need to take it slow.
Yeah.
Are you okay taking it slow? Like, nothing's wrong, you know what I mean? But I do need to build trust and rebuild trust in this situation. I am looking for someone who's good with taking it slow, and then identify what that means. Because for some overzealous men, so some over anxious men, they're going to think taking it slow means 30-day wait, right?
Right.
Before I can touch you. That might mean a year for you. That might mean 6 months. What does that mean? Be very clear and have conversations. And what I find is that men and women are really, really flexible if you communicate well. Like, we can tolerate a lot. We'll accept a lot. We'll deal with a lot. We'll understand a lot if you keep us in the loop of what's going on in the process.
Absolutely.
And listen, if he does not respect that, with you communicating that openly and that vulnerably with him about where you've been, because that is vulnerable, right? That's like showing your wounds a little bit. And that's a very intimate conversation. And if he does not respect that and y'all can't connect in that because those kind of conversations where you really build and connect with that other person, then that's the quickest sign to know that this is not the right person that you need to be dealing with, if he's not going to be tender and patient enough with you, that you have been through something like that, go ahead and X that one off the list.
Real men are eager to protect you. And sometimes protecting you is going at your pace, setting a tone, setting the environment for you to be comfortable. If a man is not eager to protect you, that's certainly not a candidate for marriage.
Yeah.
I like that. Let's keep it going. Let me, since Donnie took that one, and Donnie, that was dope.
Great.
I want to give a shout out to Diana De La Trinidad, sent in another super chat, and I want to throw this one up to Brandy real quick. She says, "I'm 24 years old, trying to date intentionally. It's been hard because not a lot of guys my age are trying to date intentionally, and I feel like older men don't take me seriously because I'm young. What would you guys do?"
Well, I was in my 20s. I dated a much older man. He was much older than me, and life-changing relationship. Loved him, and still a really dear friend. I think that you can open yourself up if you want to date older men and explore that. I think you should take that opportunity and take that step, because there are men who are 10 years older than you who are looking for women, and you may not be too young for them, who are wanting to be married and settle down and date with intention. I think you should open up your dating pool. But the same thing for older women. You know, sometimes we kind of get set in these positions and say, oh, well, I only date this certain age group. You might need to take a few years back and open that up so you have, explore better options for yourself. Yeah. But dating older is not an issue. I think I was so grateful for that older man in my 20s. He gave me such guardrails.
How old was he?
I will not say that.
I'm just curious.
That's the pass.
He's much older. He was over 20 years older than me.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that was at 24?
I started with him much younger, and I will say this. Now, that may be too old for some people, the age difference. And recognizing, that I was dealing with some father wound stuff, that I was looking for a paternal love.
Yeah.
I was looking for that to
That's
show up
immediately
in my,
what I thought.
Yeah, I was looking for a paternal love to show up in my life. But there was nothing damaging that happened in that relationship. There was a real kindness and tenderness and love that I experienced, and I will not trade that for anything in my life. But he taught me a lot. I grew up a lot. But it also changed my perspective on dating and relationships, and it gave me a real insight into intimacy and dating men who are much older, and relationships.
Yeah, my daughter is 21, and I literally am sitting here like, I know she's watching this, and girl, I wish you would.
she watching right now? She watching right now.
What's inappropriate? So your daughter's 21.
I wish you would.
What's too old of a like you think is a bit in that inappropriate age range for your daughter to be dating?
My daughter is 21, and based on mindset and that age, I think anyone older than 25 would be too old right now.
My mom always knew that I would date older men.
Yeah.
My mom always knew that. I've been grown since my mom said since I came out. Like,
Girl,
she always knew that.
One of my best friends dates older. We're in our 40s, and her very significant other is in his 60s.
Yeah.
And she's been that way since forever, but she also had some father wounds and things of that nature. And I don't knock it for anybody else. It's just, child, if you're watching right now,
yeah, and I would not do that much older now, but you have to know yourself.
Yeah,
and if
for
you're
sure.
saying that your daughter 21, 25, for me, at 21 years old, I was interested in men who were in their early 30s.
that's not.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
that's
was
not
interested
bad.
in men that were in their early 30s.
I don't know that I ever found older men super attractive.
I was going to do another show, and I kind of opted out because of the subject matter, but that was what she said. She said the same thing. Like, I never found older men, and I've always found older men much more attractive.
Yeah.
Much more attractive.
And there are for sure some exceptions. Like, I do know in my 20s and 30s, I thought Denzel Washington was the finest thing walking the planet.
I mean,
right?
all of America did.
All of it.
I think he voted the
Biggest
sexiest
sexiest
man
man
alive.
alive,
alive.
Okay. All right. Stuff like that. But I'm a very youthful 44.
Yeah.
And so for me, dating at my age or right plus or minus, like not too far away, is most ideal for me. But there's always exceptions.
Yeah.
I am more attracted to energy more
Absolutely.
than anything. How do you care for yourself? How do you love yourself? How do you speak to yourself? How do you care for me? How do you speak to me? Are our interests, in alignment? Do we like to do the same things? I want to be able to relate to the person that I end up marrying.
1,000%.
And for me, at this age, I don't know about you, Brandy, but for me now, after all of the experiences and the years that I've spent working on myself, what I do know is what I value the most right now is how a person makes me feel.
Yeah.
It's really how you make me feel. That is the baseline. And we can go up or down from there.
Yeah.
But
Right.
it's really about, because you're taught, at least in many black girls, young black girls are taught to look for someone who can provide. We're so focused on provide. What can they do for you? And we're forgetting that element that you have to sleep with that night.
Yeah. Yes. And that was the thing for me. Even in my 30s, like I want to look at the person that I'm sleeping next to and love who I want to roll over and love who I'm looking at.
Like just stare at them
And
when they're
just-
asleep.
I mean, seriously.
Look at you sleep. Ooh.
And now it doesn't have an age attached to it. It doesn't have an age because I've dated younger. And so because of that, I've even expanded my dating pool, and I think you just have to find what works for you and what makes you feel good and what makes you feel safe.
Yes.
I think that's the part, we want to feel safe that we can let our hair down and kind of take off that armor that so many of us are walking around with.
Yeah.
We want to be able to take that off. Just like we want to be able to, a safe place for you all to land, for a man to land when he comes into our presence.
Yeah. Believe it or not, men, we want you to be able to take off your armor too.
Absolutely.
Like you got to be out there. You said it earlier. It's really hard being a man.
Yeah.
Like you're expected to be a provider. You're expected to be in the 1%. You're expected to be able to solve problems. You're expected to eliminate, challenges and objections. You're expected to be a protector. You're dealing with the world, and especially if you are a man in leadership or an entrepreneur,
Absolutely.
you are someone that has to make heavy decisions all day, every day. And as much as I too make decisions, I want to come into a home where I can just be a baby. I want to be a baby with my man. Like just come and cuddle me, take care of me. But I also want to create a space that feels safe enough and that feels good enough for you to be able to take your armor off too.
And that's one of the scariest things for men. Like especially even me, dating now, transitioning from like more casually to now seriously dating a young lady, and knowing, like we know the conversations that we just prefer to stay away from, and that are like really those touchy subjects to us. Whether it may have been things we grew up around, whether it may be our finances, whether it may be our doubts of ourselves. Like it's real things that we have as these thoughts that we have as men. That's very vulnerable, and it's something special about sharing that with a woman. And like it's almost like you might throw it out there or say it, and it's almost like you hold your breath a little bit, like
Yeah.
and then how she accepts that and takes that in.
The way that makes you feel feels better than sex.
Oh my, let me tell you something. It's like a level when a woman, and sometimes, because men are so tricky, ladies, you don't even know when a man has been vulnerable in front of you all the time. You could miss it. Like he could even mask his vulnerability in strength sometimes.
Yes.
And he might say something that it may sound casual because he's trying to be strong, but it's something that's for real. Like even if it's something like, you're like, hey baby, let's go here. And he's like, we're gonna probably have to go next month because I'm really working on some things right now. Like I gotta, and you'd be like, oh my gosh, come on, like you still ain't got it together yet. Like that, that may he might straight close up on you, or if you be like, oh babe, listen, it's good, but you, trust me, we gonna go next month. We gonna have a good time, but we good right now because blase blah. That's like okay. It's ways, and I know this because I'm experiencing this now with a woman as I'm trying to advance in ways of depth in the relationship. And the only ways to advance in depth in a relationship is through the hardest conversations and through vulnerability.
Yes.
It's nothing surface level that you can talk about with a woman that's going to allow y'all to gain depth.
Listen.
It's through those hard conversations. It's through those vulnerable conversations. And again, as a man, because we don't expect strength from our women in the ways of you guys being strong all the time. Actually, your vulnerability to us can almost be sexy in some ways. Like
Sure.
you come into, you can run to us and cry, we'll kiss you, and you know that adds to the polarity of the relationship.
Yeah.
But us, that's one of the hardest things we can do. So, ladies, the space that you create with that man being vulnerable, it's probably one of the most telltale signs that he's truly into you.
Yeah.
With how much he's willing to be vulnerable. Because trust me, he's not doing that with a bunch of different women.
No.
He's not.
No.
That's a very sacred place.
And he
for him.
hardly trusts doing it with you.
But you know,
Right.
Esther Perel, she is a well-known therapist, relationship therapist. She was on a podcast and she talked about a few questions you should ask when dating. Because, you know, we always want to get to the tough conversations. But before we even get to the tough conversations, I got to know that I can, you know, you got to ride down the runway before you take off first, right?
Yeah.
So give me some runway questions, some runway room. And one of the things she has, and I thought it was so great, was one movie that you would want to see again and why. And the second, another question, I'm not going to give all of them. Another question was, what's the most generous thing you've ever done in your life? And when she said that question, somebody took it a totally different way. Like it was like, one time I was so generous, I finally told my brother no. He was dealing with drug addiction. It was a story that was told when she was telling it. And it totally transforms how somebody can show when they've been generous in their life. Most people say, well, I gave these clothes to the homeless and I did these shoes and I did this. We have to start delving into those deeper layers into a person before we start saying, like, let me get to the hard questions. Well, let me get some easy stuff out the way.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me just see how you thinking. Let me see how you believing. Let
Yeah.
me see how you showing up for other people in their lives. So then I can start to see how you might show up for me.
Yes.
But we want to delve into all the hard stuff. Well, let me get some easy stuff. What's one movie you would see again and why? And you start to get those. So now you can start to think how they think.
Yeah.
How they feel. You start to get different parts of them. And then we can walk into the hard questions and say, hey, what's that traumatic thing that happened in your life that, or what's that fear, or what's that part of you that you have been so scared to share with somebody else? What's the part of you that you're not willing to kind of reveal to somebody that's not on a show? We want to get to the hard stuff, but how can we even just get to the easy stuff first?
That's good.
Because I want to have ease with my partner. I want to have ease in my life. Every day is not going to be a tough conversations. We just got to know that we can manage them. We just got to know that we can communicate for them and for ourselves. So I think let's not look so much at the hard stuff and start looking at how can we ease ourselves into relationship and ease ourselves into space with another person. We got so much that we put on a person as soon as we meet them. But how have I even created enough space to even receive what you're bringing to the party?
Yes.
I like that.
good.
Shout
That
out
is
to
good.
Esther Perel. She giving you that stuff to
She
critically
has
think
5.
about.
I'm only giving 2, so you
Yeah,
can go.
listen. We
We
reached out to her. She's been one of the most requested.
She is reached out for everybody. I didn't reach out to
Right.
her. Listen, everybody trying
Well,
to
we
get
get it,
us.
we'll send it to you.
Listen,
Yeah.
a state of affairs. Listen, we all dealing with a state of affairs. Listen.
So,
Yeah.
Ty, you cool with this? Because the super chat is coming in. So, you cool with taking another super chat?
Yeah, well, 1 second. I want to, you know what? Go ahead and take the super chat before we get into this next thing. Go
So
ahead.
shout out to Mr. Carr and Kim Trapp, proud HR members. Listen, we appreciate y'all. Shout out to Vanita. Shout out to VJ. VJ, listen, we cannot wait to meet you.
Nah,
for real.
facts, VJ.
And we got Mika Lynn. She says, it's a good question. I'm 42 and would like to date for marriage. Women my age are made to feel like the clearance rack. Is it really possible for women my age to marry? And if so, where does she start? Because online dating has been trash.
Oh.
It burns my ears. So first of all,
Mika Lynn. Talk to Mika.
Mika, forget them people, okay? For lack of better words. There are women of all ages, of all ages, of all scenarios that are made to feel less than. And first, you have to understand that there is a business around making you feel less than. There not only is there business, you see, you know, all of these podcasts that are out here because they understand that there are viral moments. There's attention in making you feel less than because of your age, but you can only be skeptical in the absence of evidence, right? And there is evidence all around us that show us that women are getting married older and older and older, just as men are getting married older and older and older. And you will only be made to feel like your clearance rack material if you feel
Absolutely.
like your clearance rack material.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you were here earlier, but going back to affirming yourself, going back to being your best self, like you can't possibly be on a journey of becoming your best self and feel like clearance rack. It's an oxymoron. The two can't exist.
Double-minded.
The best
Yeah.
never goes on clearance, right? It just doesn't happen. So you have to condition your mind to believing who you are, and you have to be sure that you're telling yourself exactly who you are. If you keep adopting the mindset and listening, like I don't even listen to those questions. I told Tyshawn, if this is because I was familiar with their earlier version of their podcast, if this is a conversation while we're on here talking about why I'm single and woe is me and men aren't this and women aren't that and I'm the prize or he's the prize, I'm not interested. I don't plug into those conversations. I am here to have healthy conversations because healthy conversations allow me to have a healthy perspective around dating and a healthy perspective around myself. Anybody can get married at any age. There are 80-year-old women who are getting married. There are 70-year-old women, 60-year-old women. I forget the actress who just got married over the weekend privately, but people are getting married. And let me also share this. Just because people got married at a young age, that doesn't mean that they did the right thing either, right? There are pros and cons to both sides. You first have to affirm yourself, know who you are and whose you are. Tell yourself, give yourself instructions for how you're going to feel about yourself that day. Give yourself instructions about how you're going to navigate through your day. Like, give yourself the framework. This is who I am. I am marriage material. I am a wife in preparation. Thank you, God. Like, be grateful that you are 42 years old. I believe you said you were. Listen, you are 42 years old and you have the opportunity. Like, instead of seeing being single at 42 as a challenge, see it as an opportunity.
Yeah.
You know what? I've had 42 years to really become intimate with myself.
Yeah.
I've had 42 years. You know what? I'm so grateful that I had 42 years to really go through this mode of self-discovery, because now in the next phase of my life, I feel like I'm ready. I feel like I can present as a wife. I feel like I can receive from a husband and start looking at things as opportunities rather than, oh my God, I'm 42. Here's the automatic alarm clock that signals the panic, right? Don't panic. There's no need to panic. Men are still interested. People are still single. People still want you. They want me. They want Brandy. You just have to believe differently. Like, I have no doubt. I'm not seriously dating anybody right now, but there's nothing you can tell me. Just like there was nothing anybody could tell me about becoming a 7-figure income earner. I didn't care what it looked like. I didn't care what I didn't have. I didn't care how many cars I had repossessed. You could not convince me that Donnie Wiggins was not going to be a multimillionaire. It just wasn't happening. I wasn't letting your truth penetrate my spirit.
Yeah.
The same thing about dating. I have no doubt that I am going to get married. I'm going to get married for the right reasons, and I'm going to get married not only to the man that I desire, but to the man that truthfully desires me. I won't settle. I won't succumb to fear. I'm not afraid. And you have to walk around with that same level of confidence.
Yeah.
Damn, hit the horn on that one. Hit the horn on that one. I'm gonna be honest. First of all, what I recommend to you too, we did such a great video with Dr. Tart. He dropped some really, like, actually phenomenal, encouraging games, some facts and stats, by the way. Best tips for dating if you're looking for marriage in your 30s, 40s, and 50s. He put some phenomenal game together for the ladies. And this is for the men and women around those age groups. And it's interesting, the stats that he told, like, it's really encouraging when you look at what's actually happening, not what's happening on social media.
Right.
Because he put me on game that I did not know. But again, when you eat, like, putting this poison into your mind that is contradictory from what you want is very dangerous. And I think a really good example is talking about trying to get money, but you like, nah, I'm black and it's so, you know, the white man is against me, so it's gonna be hard for me to get money. So I can't do this because
I'm a single mom. I can't get a babysitter. Nobody supports me. My family talks badly to me. My husband won't let me. My wife won't let me. Listen, the excuse is valid if you buy it. 100% of the time. The thought that you're having is true if you believe it. It's not going to become untrue for you until you have a shift in mindset.
Absolutely.
And I'm gonna be honest. I think right now, did we break a record with the amount of people on here? We had over here like 800.
Oh, yo, it's like 800. It's about to be 900.
We literally broke a record
Share
tonight.
this
we did
video.
record tonight. Yo,
Let's
share
get it
my
to
listening.
900 people.
Let's get over 900. Well, I
got
didn't even
to.
notice that. Yeah,
it's-
we've never hit this high of a number.
Y'all, wait.
Wow.
Stop. Share the video right now. Like, for real. I know you want to share the video. Do them a favor. Share the video. Let's break a record tonight.
Yes, and let's break a record with likes too, because we're about to hit 500 right now. Go ahead and push it to 550 because a lot of new people in here. Please give us that like.
Definitely.
Please, guys. That like means more to us than you know.
And send over those super
And
chats. These questions are good.
The questions are really good.
These are
Was
good
that
questions.
the latest one? I think there's another one right after, right?
No, that was it. That was
First
the
of
one.
all, wait, let the mic relax. Donnie just flamed this damn mic up just now. Because
Professional,
I'm smiling.
classy,
I'm
and
looking at Donnie
informative.
smiling while she's saying this because I don't think there could be something that's. I don't think that could have been delivered any better. And shout out to the people that's on here on Hardly Initiated, because I realized that we have turned into we started off as a men's empowerment channel, and what I don't like is a lot of the men's empowerment channels online is men's empowerment more at the expense of women.
Yeah.
And what happens is the men are like, here's the problem with the women, here's the problem with this. But bro, if you see that these are the problems, okay, cool. It might be some delusion going on. It might be some issues. But if you see that, build the woman up. Like, give the framework, give the game, give the roadmap. If that's the issues that's happening, the same thing for the men. We could look at men all day and be like, bro, you ain't got no bread, you this, you that. No, this might be where you at, but here's the roadmap to getting where you have to go. And that's how we have to approach it. So we've really transformed into a men's and women's empowerment channel because it's a community. We can't get to the next level without women as men.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's literally vice versa. So that's just the reality of the situation, and we won't pick a side. So we're going to keep putting the men and the women on game like we doing now. And I appreciate that message that you delivered. That was beautiful. And I want to ask you this too, because going back to where we was going a little bit, because we all over the place
hold
right now.
on. Look at Donnie. You ain't Donnie. You good? You got to leave?
I'm good. All right.
Y'all really, like,
See,
Mika really.
Tashawn didn't tell y'all the average live is 3 hours. But
Got it.
Yeah, but it's
Okay.
okay.
You know that?
I
It's
thought
not-
it was 2.
It's
Yeah.
not, no, don't worry. Look, listen, we're going to close it out soon. So as a matter of fact, how
You're
about this?
fine. Yeah.
I want y'all to send over your final super chats right now. Send over that last group of super chats for the ladies. Okay, get it over to us so we can go ahead and get it in. This last cohort are the questions that we're gonna be able to ask them. But I want to ask you this for my fellas here, because we kind of got on the fellas about not being able to approach and not being too timid and not doing what they need to do in an assertive manner. So here's what I want to know, because I think a big thing fellas are doing is overthinking that process too. They might be, a lot of guys are in their head a bit too much when it comes to approaching, because you're right. They see you, they like you. I know they might want to approach. In their mind, they might even approach.
Yeah.
They might even experience you in their mind, but they
Yeah.
never do.
Yeah.
What is the best way as women that you would like a man to approach? I want to hear this.
Oh my God. First, most recently, I had somebody drop their number to my concierge and said, hey, this person, and he lived in the building, and he dropped his number to the concierge.
He dropped his number to the concierge
to tell me, yeah.
Oh.
And I thought it was really cute, and I entertained it, But I've also met people out. And had people approach me. The gym has been a real place. I spend a lot of time there, and I probably am more open when I'm at the gym because I'm not on my phone. I don't have it in my hand. I'm very relaxed. Yeah. So
Really?
Yes.
See, because when I see a woman working out, I'm thinking, okay, this is probably not the best time to approach.
So I don't train at a gym where I'm just going in to use the elliptical or doing that. I'm in there for a set training time. And then afterwards, that allows me opportunity to talk to people, meet people, or during the session. So
Okay.
yeah, I think, but you have to be open to that. And even speaking to the lady who was 42, be really conscious of the type of content that you are consuming. Because that's going to be very important. If you're trying to prepare yourself to be in a relationship or make yourself more available or create that space, you want to be only filling yourself with not information that's saying that you the clearance rack or you beyond your time or be willing to take whatever you can get because you're 40. We not listening to that. But there are so many love manifestations. Before I turned 40, a friend of mine sent a love manifestation to me, and I listened to that love manifestation every single day. I listened to it in the morning. I listened to it while I was on my walk. I listened to it in the evenings, about 22 minutes. And it really... every person that I was encountering, and it was not just about romantic, it was about everything that I was encountering was bringing everything of that manifestation into my life. And so I was constantly inundated in my mind with that type of information. Yeah. And so if you're only hearing clearance rack, then what are you going to think? Yeah. If you're only hearing you the bottom of the barrel, you the lowest man on totem pole, you should just take whatever you can get because you're 40, you run through and you run out and you're for the streets and whatever else they say, right? If you are only taking that in, and that's what you're going to see, and that's what you're going to receive. But if you are open to saying, you know what, I want love in my life, and I'm 40 years old, I'm 42, or I'm 45, and I want this in my life, but God help me to create the space. Send the right people in my life. Send the right women in my life who are going to help me get there. Send the right men in my life who are going to help me open my eyes to a different perspective. God, send me my helpers. And no matter what industry you're in, no matter what you're looking for, if you say, this is what I'm looking for, and allow that space to be opened up, you're going to get that. Yeah. But so many of us are walking around with this, woe is me, it ain't going to happen, it's never going to hit for me. And if you have that mentality, and guess what? That's all you're going to get. You're going to get clearance rack Negroes who coming up to you all the time looking for deals.
Looking for deals.
Yeah.
Ladies, are you a deal? Are you a deal, ladies?
It's 4 a.m. in Germany.
Looking for bargain bin stuff.
4 a.m. in Germany and 4 a.m. in South Africa. And we got some people tuning in from the UK.
All over the world.
All over the world.
All 920 people in here right now.
920?
It's going down here.
You know what? Because we've been talking about the day that we hit 1,000. So
share
it's
the
close.
video.
This could be it.
This wow.
You literally went from 820 to 920 or something like that in like 5 minutes.
Every time I look down, there's more people.
Keep sharing the video.
Get somebody in here. We share 1,000.
Text the link to somebody that you know right now and just say, hey, tap this link, join the conversation. Tap this link. You need to watch this now. It's live.
1,000.
Put it up there right now.
It's coming.
Y'all are really dropping game though, so I think it's really easy to tune into this because it's classy.
Yes. So Stacy, while we here, by the way, shout out to Stacy. Just went ahead and gave great photo, Stacy.
Yes.
So, Stacy, hey, Stacy, drop your IG right after this.
Ladies, we need the headshot. See, the thing is, we actually promote. Not all our members know, but if you look at the desktop on the home page, we have a full banner. We have a full banner where every single day it features different members that are in the community. So ladies and gentlemen, please update those profile pics.
Yes.
And I don't know if you guys looking at the production, but you'll see when you send in the super chat, your name actually pops up.
Yes.
So please update that profile pic, not a whole body photo.
So we showcasing you,
but the actual, what is that called? A headshot.
Yes.
Get your headshot on there.
So Stacy says, look, I'm 25 and struggle with feeling ready to seriously date a man because the perfectionist within me says I'm not fully healed and thus not ready. Knowing that healing is a constant journey, how do you know when you're ready? That's such a good question, man. We've probably asked that question on multiple episodes to multiple coaches. And you know, it's interesting. I like the way Dr. Bryant explained it the most on our previous episode, because he actually said something that's interesting. He said, when it comes down to it, what actually happens is not as much as you are ready as much as you decide that this is what you want. It's more of a decision than a readiness, because check this out. He made a really good point. He said a lot of us, what we'll do is we'll buy a home, 30-year mortgage. And guess what? We're not a plumber, but we're ready to take on any of the issues that happen with the plumbing with the house. We're not a landscape expert, but we'll deal with any of the issues that's going to happen with the yard, right? We are not a carpenter, but if anything goes down, if we're not an electrician, but when those electricity problems happen, you're going to handle it. So it's not about becoming a carpenter, a plumber, a landscape expert, an electrician before you buy a house. It's making the decision that if any of the issues that were to happen were to arise, you have fully decided and committed that I'm willing to deal with whatever the hell this comes with.
Yes.
But that's the commitment. That's the commitment. It's not a feeling, it's an agreement.
Yes.
That's what a commitment is. It's not a feeling. And so many people are waiting on a feeling to happen. But are you willing to make an agreement?
Yeah.
Are you willing to make an agreement with yourself about, and that's that decision. I'm willing to make an agreement to say, you know what? I'm not just going to entertain dudes who just want to sleep with me.
Yeah.
I'm not just entertaining dudes who don't want to call me, get to know me, take me out, show me off. I'm not doing that. I'm only being intentional with men who have a genuine interest in me, who are calling me, who want to get to know me, who want to make the time to take me out, to entertain me, to get to understand who I am. And I think that when you make that decision, then people start coming into your life that also reflect that decision. But then you stop accepting any old thing to yourself.
Yes.
I love how when Stacey said, on here, you keep attracting liars because you really be lying. You be lying to yourself.
Yes.
And some of us have to get really clear. If you say that you're not ready at 25, guess what that means? You're not.
Yeah.
You're not ready. You're not. Because if you have to ask that question, Donnie is not asking that question.
Yeah.
I'm not asking that question because we have a clear understanding of who we are, what we want, what our values are, and we go after those intentionally. So if I'm asking, well, I don't know, how should I know I'm ready? You are not.
You are not.
You are not.
Yeah.
You are not.
It will become something so clear to you. Like when you want something, you typically can't stop thinking about it.
Yeah.
And then you start moving pieces around on the chessboard to position yourself to get it.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're not finding yourself like almost obsessing over the thought, like, you know what, I'm ready to date. You know what, I'm ready to date. If you're not thinking, if that thought doesn't cross your mind regularly, you're likely not ready. And if you are not intentionally making room for it, Stacey, you probably aren't ready. Intentionally making room, accepting the dates, clearing out clutter, cutting off bad connections, right? Presenting yourself well, then you're not ready. But you also kind of asked and answered your same question. You said that you're a perfectionist around not feeling healed enough, but you also understand that healing is a constant journey. I'm going to tell you again, healing is a constant journey. So for anybody who is waiting on love because you want to be completely healed, you will be waiting until you're buried somewhere on a hill. Because
it ain't happening.
It's just
not happening.
Not going to happen. Listen, healing is continuous. It's like, think about alcoholics, and they're in Alcohol Anonymous or Alcoholics Anonymous or something like that.
Yeah.
They have to keep a sponsor. It's ongoing for the rest of their lives. Why? Because life will happen. Something will trigger them that will send them right back to a bottle or a cocktail or something that will take them right back to the downward spiral. So they have to stay connected to the community that supports their healing journey. Well, it's the same thing with you. Whatever you're healing from, you're simply one trigger away. Today might be a good day, but tomorrow you might get triggered.
Yeah.
And when you are triggered, you'll realize how much you're still in your process of healing. We're all one trigger away from our healing journey or from not feeling healed. If something provokes you, if something triggers you, if something makes you think about the thing that you're trying to heal from, you're going to feel sadness. You might feel anger. You might feel disappointment. You might feel rage. You might want to go back to substance abuse or alcohol abuse, but then because you're staying connected and committed to the journey, that's the part that keeps you in the process of healing and not regressing. So don't wait to be healed. There is no such thing.
Because the first step,
I'm gonna be honest. That's a bar. Before you go, I just want to repeat that. If you wait until you all the way healed, you're gonna be waiting until you somewhere on top of a hill.
You're gonna be buried.
Buried on top of the hill. But go ahead.
Because you know what? To Donnie's point, the first part of sobriety, the first step is honesty. And most of us are not being honest. So if you're saying you're not ready, are you not ready today, or you're not ready for the type of man that you really want?
Yes. Yes.
Like, what are you not ready for? because dating is a muscle. And so you're going to have to work the muscle to get what you want anyway. You got to go out here and date. You have to figure out what you want, what you desire, what your likes and what your dislikes are. So the question becomes, what are you not ready for? Dating is real simple. See, we put too much on the date. We put too much. You just going out for dinner. We just going out
just
for
go eat.
That's it.
If you don't,
we just going out.
if you don't eat and talk about how good that fettuccine Alfredo was,
like, what is so hard about coffee? Like, what's so hard about it? I don't know what you're not ready for to experience coffee or dinner with a man. I don't understand that. But if you have now fantasized the wedding and fantasized the marriage and the children and what they're going to look like and what my name sound like with his, and you done wrote it out and what could it be and seeing what my name look like on the wedding invitation, if you're doing all that, then you are not ready. You are absolutely right. But if you're just going to have dinner or we just going out for drinks and we just going to have a good time, what is this pressure that we feel from one another? I'm just getting to know you to see if I want to go have dinner with you again.
So clearly, this is what the ladies want, is to ask y'all questions. They can just do without me and Tyshawn.
No facts.
Brandon, let me ask you. I mean, shout out to Anna Dominique. She says, how transparent should you be about where you are in the healing process?
That's a good question.
Not on the first date.
no,
Please,
not on the,
ladies.
not on the
Oh
second
my
day.
God.
Not on the second day. Not on the,
And not on the third day.
Like, we don't even know you like that.
I don't. He does not want to know what your granddaddy Earl did when y'all was in the. Nobody. No.
No.
We doing too much.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I think it's when you guys have a conversation that entertains going to the next level.
Yeah.
And before you enter the next level, if your healing process is something that will affect your relationship, then that person deserves to know. But at least let the conversation of, you know what, I'm really feeling this. I'm interested in becoming exclusive. Okay, you know what? I'm also interested in becoming exclusive. I think that there's a conversation that we need to have. And maybe this is our first tough conversation. Like, this is where I am. Before we do this, let's make sure we're in alignment. What are some things? That's when you start asking those questions. What are some things that you're dealing with that you haven't healed from yet? What are some things that you're really attached to that maybe I should know about, so I know how to love you better in your love language and provide what you need from me, and vice versa? That would be the only time, because otherwise, if you're dating smart, you're dating multiple people. And dating is simply sit down for coffee, sit down for a conversation, sit down for dinner, go ride bikes in the park, go have breakfast. If you are dating smart, you're dating multiple people, and you don't want to divulge too soon because you just got all of these randoms knowing your business.
I'm gonna be honest. I have been on dates, ladies, where a woman has just started instantly. I'm talking about within the hour, start telling me about her baby daddy.
No.
Start telling me about her.
No.
Start telling me about her ex-man.
No.
And how much he wasn't this and that.
No.
Started telling me about how her mama and her mama get on her nerves.
No.
And her mama be pissing her off and she can't wait to move out. And just all these different scenarios and situations where in my mind, I'm just like, in my mind, I have already put a glass ceiling over your head.
Yeah.
I've already limited
out
where this relationship is going to go,
Yeah.
if it's going to go anywhere else besides this.
Yeah.
And you have literally been put in a box.
And you know, men do a very similar thing. You guys will discuss baby mama issues way too soon. You will, you think it's funny to make sexual jokes very early. I'm so turned off by it. I'm so turned off. Like, look at the girl sitting up. Don't play with me.
Oh, no.
Wait, sexual jokes with other girls?
No,
No, they will make
girls.
sexual
the girls.
The girls.
Wow.
Men will make sexual innuendos very early in the, you better get away from me. I won't be able to control yourself. You better figure it out.
Yeah.
But now I just put you in a box. Now, no matter how genuine you appear to be, you seem like you are interested in one thing, right? And so we just have to really be interested in knowing each other. Dating in the very early stage, dating period, but especially in the very early stage, is a very selfless activity. That means that you are not here to unload about yourself.
No.
Your objective is to get to know the other person, let that person talk about themselves, and be present and honest and truthful when they're trying to get that same information from you.
Now, oh my God, Donnie, we got to bring you back for a show to talk about the guys. I can tell you're going to eat them up. 'Cause that is definitely something that men do. I hear that from women all the time.
No,
Or their eyes
they
can't stay
do.
focused. They be talking to you and looking like that.
Yeah.
As soon as you go to the bathroom, they doing all of this. Like, guys, act like you've seen something before. Have some decorum.
And see, men, I think the men they just need some practice in the art of seduction. I think they just need some help, and they want to be complimentary. They want to show you that they do have a level of sexual interest, but when it gets too explicit, I mean, just women just really get turned on.
we want you to like us. We want you to
They want to feel
want us.
desired.
And feel
Yeah,
sexy.
we absolutely do. So a little sexual innuendo is not an issue. It's about how and what you say. It's the how you say it, you know,
And how many times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Exactly.
It feels a little creepy, you know. Like don't be a
Right.
creep, you
So
know.
typically, right. It is creepy. Please,
That's a
please, don't be
good
called a
one.
creep.
It's like-
Ways that men are screwing up out here.
Yeah.
Way too many sexual jokes or way too extreme.
But
You gotta
going too
sandwich
hard
it
on
in.
it.
You gotta sandwich it in. So I was actually teaching Delano that little bit of game.
But I also think women need to be listening too, because
Yeah.
I think sometimes women can do too much talking on dates.
For sure.
I think that you can talk too much and you don't leave enough room to listen to this man, because all the while he's giving you all the answers. He's giving you all the cues. He's telling you exactly what he wants. He's telling you exactly what he's looking for. But are you listening? You done gone on a whole tangent. You don't know nothing. You're not asking questions.
Yeah.
And I think women need to spend more time asking questions and listening before they are doing a dump about their own.
I would say that. Like, no, that's a really good tip for the ladies, because when I'm dating a woman and she's asking me really great
Yes,
questions,
you want to ask
I am
questions.
so turned on by that. Like, somebody who is genuinely asking you questions that you can tell it's like a genuine interest in,
Yeah.
and they're willing to sit back and not make this a therapy session about themselves,
Yeah.
and truly sit back and be curious about you in that way. I think that's one of the sexiest things
Yeah.
that a woman can do.
And
in
if you
that space.
struggle with that, man or woman, try getting one of the dating games. Like the little small card games
the
you can
card
keep
games.
right in
Yeah.
your purse. I know Ace Metaphor has one. Tonight, Let's Talk. Really cute, like date night questions. Go through those cards and pick out some questions, because some of those can get kind of sexual too, and you want to keep
Yeah.
those for a later date. But go through
Right.
those cards and pre-screen the questions. If you struggle to break the ice or be interesting, use a resource, use a tool. There are tools, and I personally find it cute and fun to play games like that. Like, we get to ask questions that we normally wouldn't be comfortable asking, because here you pulled the card. You pick the card, answer the question.
Yes.
And not just making dates, going out to dinner. I think some of the best, for me now, like if you coming to walk the park with me, okay? Like first time you want to get to know me, I'm probably not gonna go to dinner with you, unless that was like some setup and how we met. But you can come walk the park with me. Let's go take a walk.
I like that too, actually.
Because if we got 2.7 miles, and if I don't make it around there in 2.7 miles and you have not captured my attention, you have not found a way to fascinate
You out of
me.
breath.
Baby, we thank you so much. I'm gonna drink my water and we can go on home.
You're not gonna be able to do it.
I love a good dinner date.
A little hike and I love dinner dates.
I love
Don't
a
get
good
me
dinner
wrong.
date.
I love dinner dates. But I also think sometimes, even too, for your audience who are looking for ways to date and not have to spend a whole lot of money. Now
Yeah.
some of y'all, we getting into fall and winter, so you ain't gonna park a girl to death. Okay?
Facts.
You're not gonna be able to park a girl to death. But I think it is a way for you to get to know a person and spend some time with them by going on a walk, a nice little hike. I've done them. I've done Amacola Falls on dates, but I'm an outdoorsy person. So I like adventure. I like to be outside. I like activities. And so if you are, you like those kind of things, that's going to be more intriguing.
And here's the thing. If I like you, I'm open to a lot of things.
And that's
That's so true.
Oh, listen, I
That's a
done
fact.
I just a couple who ain't wanted to walk no park, but baby, they didn't walk that park.
You gonna walk this park. I'm not trying to walk the park depending on the temperature, but if your questions on the phone were good enough, we can go walk the park, babe. Like, I would rather you take me to the gym. Like, I would love a first date. Like, we're going to the gym. There's a little friendly competition.
Yeah.
I get to assess your health level, your physical fitness level. You get to assess my physical fitness level. But I also think there's something so telling about how a man plans a dinner date. very early on for me.
Okay.
Because one of my favorite things to do is to experience amazing dining experiences.
Yeah.
Right.
That's one of my favorite things to do. I'm really simple, like feed me.
Yeah.
And that's just what I really enjoy. And were you thoughtful enough to even ask what type of food I like to eat? Were you thoughtful enough to plan a reservation? If you wanted to surprise me with the place that we're going, did you kind of prepare me and
People
say,
still go out and they don't make reservations?
yes.
Okay.
And
Yes.
You know one thing
Oh,
I don't
wow.
like either on a dinner dates? I don't like when a woman is not willing to share her food. I think listen, feel me on
interesting.
this. Feel me on this.
Only if I like you. You mean on a
See?
first date?
Yes.
If I
It
let
is
you
a sign
put
of
your
intimacy.
fingers in my plate
Yeah, because
or stick your fork in my steak, I'm feeling you. I'm feeling the conversation.
see, I like because eating for me, especially how I grew up in my family, it's like communion.
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
like we all trying things we together. Like that's kind of how I grew
Yeah.
up.
I think
So
it's
whenever I
cute.
got a woman like trying to,
Strong arm her plate.
I'm like, you selfish man.
But see, that's typically
That's
an
what I-
indication.
that's what I see.
That's an indication that she's not feeling you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now you can be all in my plate. Come sit next to me. Let's share. Bring your food. Let's share. Like if I am feeling you like that, but there's a strong dating is a risk.
Yeah.
You face the risk of that person not feeling you, and then no, you can't have my food.
Yo, hit these super chats real quick.
Yo, the
because they
super
coming
chats
in.
is going
So hit these real quick.
insane. So shout out to some members that have just joined us. Shout out to Kenosha, who just gifted a membership. Shout out to Tony
Much
Morgan,
love.
Eve, and EJT, all joining the Harley Initiated membership. Shout out to Anitra. Anitra Alexander giving you guys the flowers. She said the podcast has been lit. Thanks so much, ladies. You done dropped some serious nuggets today. That's awesome. Shout out to Shanae Randall. She says, let's love on ourselves first, and that will be easier to love the mate God bless you with. And then let's get a question real quick. Shout out to Deja. She says, she's a business owner and a single mom. So I'm going to throw this one up to you,
That's
Donnie.
Donnie.
Right. I'm having a hard time finding what I like to do personally. I try classes, hobbies, but nothing is hitting. I don't have much to share about me personally. Any advice?
How old is she?
Deja,
Don't know your
listen,
Deja, drop your age.
Drop your age in
All
there.
right.
Drop your age, Deja.
You gotta that's an indication you not having much to talk about your own life, and you're not sure the things that you like. That's an indication to me that you're probably so wrapped up in being a mom that you have forgotten about yourself along the way. And you have to remind yourself, before you were a mom, what were the things that you actually enjoyed doing? When you are scrolling on social media, where do you find yourself landing? What kind of accounts? What kind of conversations? What kind of pictures? What do you find yourself saving? Are you saving restaurants? Are you saving hiking trips? Are you saving travel? And then get out there and go to that pre-mom phase. Like, remember the significance you had in your life before you were a parent. I work with so many women that are now spouses or parents, and they feel like you. They've lost themselves in the image of being a mother or a wife, and tap back into, what were the things I was doing before I became this mom? And that will give you some insight. One of the exercises that I utilize with brand new students who want to become entrepreneurs and they're not really sure what they're good at, I suggest that you text 5 people who know you, who've spent some time with you, and say, hey, if you had to pick a fun activity that this is for you in dating, right? Not in business, but I have my students do a very similar exercise for business discovery. For you, if you had to, I would send a text to 5 people. If you had to plan an activity for me based on what you think I'd like, what would that be? And listen to the responses. People would say, oh, I plan a sip and paint for you, or I'd take you to the club, or I plan a trip. Look at that, and there's gonna be some similarities if people know you very well. And then you look at that and you say, you know what? I did forget that I actually used to like reading very much. I did forget that I actually really get off on writing. Like I like that very much. Or maybe I'm a really great communicator, and I forgot, what that felt like. I actually love being alone. And that's the thing too. You might like to be alone.
That's some game right there, right?
It
like,
is.
Listen, losing yourself in motherhood, is a thing. I see it happen all the time.
Yeah, I mean, we got, I got a mother who did that for some years.
Absolutely.
And that's what I mean, as young men, as just men in general, that's the one thing we want most is for our mother to be hand in hand with a very strong man.
That's a fact.
And a lot of times they give everybody everything,
especially the kids, especially when you're a single mom too.
Yeah.
That becomes just, your whole life, and it's so easy to neglect yourself. I see a lot of single moms do that. They just neglect themselves, and they become less interesting in dates.
Yeah.
You go to their Instagram, all you see is the kids all over their page. Like the most of their conversation ends up becoming quickly about the kids. So that woman becomes very difficult to date and for you to really get a deep connection with when that does happen.
Well, and let me say, and this may be happening to her, moms, as great of a mom as you want to be, if you are interested in attempting to be intentional about dating, if your social media just reads mom, 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 men are also needy for your attention, and all they see is a competition. All they see is, ooh, she's beautiful, I'm interested, but I'd be competing for time. I'd be competing for time. When does this woman have time to actually entertain a relationship? So it's really important that you do start to display some things that you do outside of being a parent, and maybe just start posting some pictures of just you. You will lose yourself being a mother. You will suddenly, with all the soccer and hockey and basketball and football, suddenly you look around and it's been 3 months since you got a manicure, 3 months since you got a pedicure. You haven't been dressed outside of athleisure wear in 6 months. You forgot what you like to do because you are not presenting yourself into the world that got you pregnant in the first place.
Ooh.
Wow.
But then look at the example that you're setting for your daughter.
Yes.
You're saying that I'm the last rung on the ladder. I put myself last on the list. And so you are also teaching her, because children become what they see.
Exactly.
And so if you are showing up as the example of, I don't spend enough time on myself, I don't take care of myself, I don't make space for myself, then guess what she does? She in turn does the same thing. And so now we got a whole nother cycle.
That's really good, Brandy.
That is really good. Here's what I want y'all to do real quick, because we about to get one more question in.
This is the last
Shout
one.
out to the people that sent the super chats over. These the last ones we're going to take. Any other super chats, it's just going to be love offerings. We'll still take it, but they love offerings. What I want y'all to do is let's break another record in here. Let's get to 700 likes tonight. We at 608.
Okay,
let's get to 700 likes tonight, and go ahead and hit that like button right now before we get to this last question. Go ahead, Ryan.
Okay, I got this. This one actually is from Donnie. So Donnie's been with us she's been with us at the beginning of the show all the way to the end.
Shout out,
You
Donnie.
riding, baby.
Donnie says, have you ladies encountered being on a date with a man that is consistently looking at other women while in your presence? All right, first of all, I already know it's an easy one. It's an easy one. If
You can
so,
skip that question.
how do you handle that on the spot?
I wouldn't handle it. I would
Yeah.
leave.
I would advise that too.
I've never had that
experienced
happen.
That's
But if
extreme
it did
disrespect.
happen, I would get up and I would leave. Ladies, have your own money, be able to get yourself home. I would just leave.
Yeah.
No explanation.
I agree with that.
I've never
That's
experienced that.
disrespect.
Yeah.
Sound like some Miami stuff.
That's very
Some what
disrespect.
stuff?
Miami style.
I mean, that's kind of wild actually for him to do that, because I mean the whole purpose of a date is to be present with the person that you're with.
Right.
So I mean, the fact that this man is literally eyeing,
No.
you don't understand the problems
No.
that come with this brother. Like this brother
He's
here.
toxic.
And if
Heavily
you are
toxic.
sitting through a full dinner with this man, you have gotten through appetizers, entrees, and dessert with this man, you are the problem.
You are the problem.
You are the problem.
You are condoning
this
behavior.
You are your biggest challenge, obstacle, and barrier for your success.
Donnie, what city you in, Donnie? It just sounds like something they do in South Florida. Donnie, where are you at? Where you
That's
located at,
definitely
Donnie?
Jacksonville behavior.
Yeah,
That's Duval County.
Where you from,
He
Donnie?
had a gold grill. Did he have a gold grill while he did that?
And he had a box Chevy. Listen,
Donnie, let us know what city and
he had a
state you
box
at.
Chevy.
Hey, listen, yo. First of all, ladies, y'all did y'all thing up on here tonight.
Yeah.
It's something special about when you bring the ladies on the platform.
Atlanta.
The platform goes absolutely crazy.
Very
no,
Atlanta,
not
too.
Atlanta.
Wow.
Come on
Lithonia.
now.
That's
That's
the
where she's
Lithonia
from?
thing.
No. I'm from Lithonia. Don't do that.
That's
Don't do that.
that's a DeKalb County.
Don't.
That's DeKalb County right
Do
there.
not.
Wow.
He was from
Lithonia
DeKalb
High
County.
School graduate here. All right, shout out to the L. Don't do that.
He was definitely from DeKalb.
It's College Parkish.
I feel like it's giving West Side.
It could be. It could also.
But Donnie, you gonna help us fix that Atlanta issue, right? Don't you got something coming up soon? Something that you're working on?
Yeah, we're not ready to disclose yet.
Okay,
but we do have some things coming up. I definitely want to shift the conversation around dating in the Black community specifically. I definitely want to gift women back their confidence, older women specifically, when it comes to dating. And then men need some etiquette lessons.
Oh, yeah.
When it comes to dating too. I think we owe it to each other to continue our bloodlines. I think we owe it to each other to continue our heritage, and we owe it to each other to be great, right? This generation is so powerful because we have been able to achieve so many accolades in sports, so many accolades in leadership, so many accolades in corporate America. We're owning at a much higher rate in terms of property and assets, and we're entrepreneurs. And in the last 3 years, so many multimillionaires were birthed from the African American community. Now, what do we do with that? It would be a waste if we are gathering all of these resources, all of these wins, and we are not experiencing life with someone who deserves to experience life with us. So I say that to say, it's up to us. If you're not satisfied with the way dating looks in our community, do something about it. And anytime I feel like something is not well and it's not sitting well with me, I do something about it. And we plan to do a couple of things that support healthy dating, healthy love, and hopefully you getting back out there in your groove and getting it back together.
Well, you know, that's what Harley Initiated represents and stands for. So anything you need from us, we fully behind you and we support you.
Yeah.
So we're excited to see that, you know, you bring that to the world.
Yeah, for sure. For freaking sure. I'm so excited. You guys were saying that you started off as a men's empowerment community. And then now you're a women and men's empowerment platform. And I think you are really diminishing the value of what you have the ability to achieve with this platform. Like, this is a culture shift. Having healthy conversations around the relationships of Black men and Black women and even beyond, but starting here, right, in this place, having healthy conversations. There's so many podcasters, so many podcasts, so many books, so many TV shows that are anti-Black woman, anti-Black love, anti-Black family. And if you guys continue to do what you're doing here, forget man, woman, we're talking culture and we're talking generations to come. So I am happy that I said yes.
You know what?
We received that.
Thank you so much
Yes.
for saying that. And I really do appreciate the fellas that are in here as well with us, because I've done a lot of research about this space, especially the space of relationships where people are trying to date better, become better husbands, become better wives, become better fathers, mothers. And the space is dominated by women. And what I would say is men typically get this on the job experience on this part of life, where I see the women are more apt to lean in. But the fact that we can have brothers here in the chat, brothers here in this conversation with women, all in one place, having this caliber of conversations is probably what I'm most proud of what we've been able to accomplish, that we have been able to keep the respect of men and keep them in the room. And when you look at the chat and just see how the conversation is going between the men and the women, it's so healthy and it's so beautiful.
That's dope.
That's good.
That y'all best believe we're going to have some very dope things coming, because we can't keep this as an online experience. We're going to be bringing y'all something very special in real life very soon, which is why I want you guys to go ahead, when we giving you this product here with these 10 dating and connection questions. It's not just so we can give you that product, it's so we can get your contact information, so we can let y'all know when this experience is happening, because we have something so big planned that I cannot wait to announce. And it's really, like you said, we are aiming for a very cultural shift. So I appreciate you
Can me and
acknowledging
Brandy
that.
be a part of whatever this top secret experience is?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We will be reaching
I
out
want
to
to
all of
see
you
how
guys
many
as
men
well.
are in the. Can they drop something in the chat, like a 1 or something? Like if men
For
are
how
still
many?
Ooh,
here.
that's a good one.
Yeah.
Men, look, men, if you're in the chat right now, put man in the chat.
Represent.
We up late tonight, too.
I want to
M-A-N.
see.
Hey.
Drop a man in the chat right now for the men that's in here
Yeah.
at 10:51 Eastern time.
Yo, we got
And people in here
international
all
listeners.
internationally.
right now it's
4,
3,
5
4, and
o'clock in
5
the morning.
a.m.
Yes.
on here. Shout out to EJT.
Yes,
He says,
yes, so they-
big super chat says, you
It's
guys are
coming in
changing
here.
lives
It's
out
coming
here
in here right
with
now.
the
I love
content.
it.
Wow.
I have been
love
letting
it.
my
I love
friends and
it.
family know about the podcast. I'm glad to be a part of the growth. Much love. Shout out to EJT. Wow. Okay, man. King. I like
Medium man.
King.
Yes.
Did you say medium man? You said
His name
yeah.
is Medium Man.
Yeah, Medium Man. He actually has a platform. Shout out to the black content creators. Shout out to the black media owners. Shout out to Medium Man. Just listening. Very entering conversation. Shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you. Hey, I don't know if you've seen Medium Man. He's like cock decent.
Right.
I don't know if you've seen him.
Right.
My man's cock decent.
So check this out, y'all. Much love to everybody that stayed on here and enjoy and locked in with us. Y'all know we do this every Monday and Wednesday night at 8 p.m. and it will not stop. Monday we're gonna do something very special here. We're gonna have the men on the panel. We had the ladies in here.
Right.
We're gonna bring the fellas. Okay, it's gonna be the single fellas in the building.
They gotta
And
follow
we're gonna
up
chop
now.
it up. We're gonna
They gonna have
follow
to go
up.
hard.
And
They
you
gonna
know
have
we're
to.
gonna deliver because everybody and anybody we bring to Harley Initiated is gonna be fully vetted and qualified to be sitting here in this conversation. So listen, much love to you ladies. Thank you so much for joining us here. It's been an absolute blessing, and it's not gonna be the last time.
Thank you
that
for
y'all
having
here.
us.
So, you know,
Yeah, enjoyed it.
this is just the beginning.
Yes.
And y'all know, listen, thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of Hardly Initiated. We are out.